Yeah!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2020 Hallowoosh podcast.
I haven't heard anybody call it 2020 in for Edsies.
That's the way to go, baby.
That's how you roll. That's how noobs rolls here in this place. Yeah.
So, on this episode, 2020 Hallowoosh tour that took him to various parts of the country, but we're also going to talk COVID-19 pandemic and how that affected this haunt season. And then to wrap things up, we're going to talk a little bit about the customers. Woosh has got some things that he wants to go over. That should be a fun topic. So we're going to cover all that and maybe a couple little surprises here and there. And with that being said, I would like to welcome the man himself.
But I just want to say, when he says there might be a couple of surprises in there, I have no idea what he's talking about, and I'm freaking terrified because I have no idea what's going on here.
Woo! Let's just go over the COVID-19 situation going on. Still going on. We were hoping it wouldn't affect the haunt season, but unfortunately it did. Woosh, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you encountered out in the field and what you think about it?
Well, when the shit show happened, everything was getting real bad and strange, and everybody was real scared that it was going to have a much bigger effect on the haunt industry than it actually did. It did have an effect. There was definitely places that closed up immediately when the information came out. It was just too much for them to get crews involved and start building stuff when they usually do in the springtime, and just the nightmare of a thought that, you know, if somebody comes in, if one person gets it, then the whole place is shut down and God knows what else. So, you know, God bless the ones that decided to just stay away from all of that and just take the year off. I completely understand it. But that being said, there was quite a few that really believed that they could put in the extra effort to turn this around and do it the right way and get the city officials on their side to show that they could actually be one of the few places that would be open. I gotta say, I'm incredibly proud of the haunt industry for what they did. Almost on a level that makes me pissed off, because it is insane what they had to actually do. Like when all of this shit freaking went down at the beginning of this year in March, people were already talking about, like, if people want to go back into places, you'll have to get your temperature taken, you'll have to sign papers, you'll have to prove this, prove that, you'll have free, hand sanitizers all over the place, have to mandatory wear the mask and everything like that. Right now, a lot of those places had that stuff, but haunts are the only place, the only business that I have seen anywhere that has done actual temperature checks on people. Can you think of anywhere?
No. I mean, they do it at my work, but...
Oh, just to check the employees?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, I didn't know. Well, okay. Well, there you go. There was one place that I wasn't thinking
about.
But
as far as, like, doing it for customers, yeah.
Every single customer, you know, and obviously the actors, too. God bless the restaurant industry and everything that really pulled it together and put up, like, the plexiglass things to divide people. There was plexiglass all over the place in the haunted house industry. All these places where people usually pop out or reach through or scare spots, there were plexi all over the place, or hanging plastic. It's crazy the amount of work that haunted houses have to go through in order to prove that they can be open this year. And it's just much more than I've seen anybody else do. Not to say that there's any industry out there that doesn't deserve any credit for what they've done to stay open this year. God bless all you guys, especially the restaurant industry. But for an industry that's open an average of 13 nights a year, the crap that they freaking went through.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by it pisses me off, because nobody even recognizes them. Everybody's still going, I can't believe they're even still open. No, it's probably the safest goddamn place that you could possibly go into. They're taking temperatures of everybody. They're constantly walking around with disinfectant spray. Definitely timing people to go in with the online ticketing and the time blocks when you can go in. Showing people where exactly they can stand. but some places the entire parking lot has X's or something kind of put in the way to show where you can stand. I don't see anybody else doing it.
Yeah.
But they still get that bad rep. Oh, haunted houses, that's just for kids. Yeah, well, so are tricks, and I still love them.
So what are some of the things that you saw that were different, the protocols that they had to follow? Did it seem to affect some of the haunts?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you might not really notice it if you're not familiar with haunted houses. I barely did, honestly. You know, I just kind of followed the protocols. Like, you know, they ask you questions like, have you been in any contact with anyone? No. All right, lean forward. Let me take your temperature. Okay. All right, you're fine. But because of all of this, pretty much every single haunt had to limit the amount of tickets that they sold. So less people were going in this year, even though there is some places that had record numbers. So there is some places that didn't have a limit on their tickets. I don't know what exactly that's all about, but there's definitely a lot of places, especially up in my area. I think they just had to tell city officials that they will only allow like a couple thousand people to come in through a night or every hour, and that's why they switched to the online ticketing. Almost everywhere you went, it was online ticketing.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because so that they can control how many people are at the property at any given hour. Mm-hmm. Now, they all had their different ways of doing it. Not many people followed the exact extreme protocol that they were kind of talking about happening back in like the summertime.
Yep.
Still, online ticketing was the biggest thing that changed everything. And obviously, taking out certain attractions where people would have to be really close to each other, letting people go in, you know, one group at a time. Groups had to be smaller. A new thing is not, I guess it's not a completely new thing, but definitely happened a lot this year, was the introduction of drive-through haunts. So instead of actually having the hay rides, they let cars drive through, kind of like a Christmas light drive-through would be.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Now, that's not to say that there wasn't any hay rides this year. There was plenty of hay rides, but the whole thing was weird. I'm incredibly proud of the haunt industry for what they've done, but I can't really say it's the entire industry. Everybody had a different idea of what they did, and it almost seemed like everybody was trying to come up with what they thought would appease their city council the best.
Yeah.
And that's really what it came down to, because it was town by town. One town, it's like, I don't know, I think our fire chief wouldn't want this many people in this section at this time of the night. And then the next town over, it could be a couple feet over, for crying out loud. I don't know, maybe they'll be okay with us putting this many people in this section at this time of the night. It's like nobody really like confirmed or denied anything. It was really, I don't know, it was weird. But
it's all over the place, just like everything else with the virus. Like, you know, one state, totally different rules, you know.
Right.
I don't think anyone really knows what they're doing.
I'm just saying that this isn't even state by state. This could almost be street by street if there was two haunts on the same street. Yeah. The thing that affected me the most was that, like, I don't really know exactly where I'm going to be, when I'm going to be. Like, I'm in the minority here of people that plan, like, where they're going to go, when they're going to go, because they're going to have somewhere else to go the next night and the night before. Right? Mm-hmm. Most people are just like, we know we're going to go to this place this year, some point. No, I need to freaking choose which 2 or 3 places a night I'm going to be in. Yeah. And, you know, where I'm going to be close enough for the next day to be. So it kind of became a weird thing where it's like, well, how the hell can I get online tickets now? And the tickets are limited too. So there's going to be places that are going to be selling out of tickets. Mm-hmm. And if I buy the ticket, I need to make sure that I'm going to get through that place in time to get to another place. So I have to buy the VIP ticket. And at the same time, it's like, I don't know what the weather is going to be like. And all of these haunts, their biggest rule is no refunds. Right. They're all going to say, sorry it rained tonight, but you can come the next night. No, you don't understand. I live 8 states away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I didn't even think about that, how that could mess up your whole schedule.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately enough, there wasn't as many places that really sold out for the whole season that quickly. I think the only one I really bumped into was Headless Horseman up here in New York, because they sold out very quickly. I don't know if it's because of the limited tickets or just because they were so popular. I don't know. They were one of the places that did one of those drive-through haunts, and unfortunately, I didn't even get to go see one this year. It seems to me like there's a lot of things that haunts did that they're going to keep doing for pretty much the rest of their future now, because they love this time ticketing thing. They hated that, people just kind of showed up whenever they showed up, and there was a big giant line. Mm-hmm. They hated that. Crowd control was probably the biggest thing that they had a problem with. There's all kinds of problems running a haunted house that they didn't account for when they started. But this time ticketing thing, it really helped a lot of haunts understand what they could be doing.
Yeah.
So it got rid of a lot of things. Like, one of the things that was brought up to me was that it got rid of a lot of the drunks. Because the drunks would stumble in at the last freaking minute of opening hour, and it's like they had to sell them a ticket legally.
Yep.
Actually, I guess they could have said no, but they didn't. But, like, with this way, you can't, right? The tickets are limited, and you had to buy them online. I think one of the other reasons why you had to buy them online was because it also tracked you. Mm-hmm. All of your information was there just in case there was an outbreak. The drive-through hayride attractions there, they thought that people were going to be running into actors or speeding off, and for some reason, they never had a problem. I didn't hear anything anywhere. They just stayed real slow, moved right along. They tuned into the radio to play a soundtrack for where they were, so it was cool.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, that being said, I could see that they're probably going to implement this kind of stuff because we don't see this thing going away anytime soon. I don't care if they come out with a cure tomorrow and everybody gets it. Nobody's going to just stop wearing masks. There's going to be too many scared people forever now, so they're just going to keep this thing going. And this is a safe way to do it. Why the fuck not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, was there any positives that came out of this, that the haunts can use to, like you said, the line thing? Did they discover any new way of doing something that actually benefited them?
I guess it's all in how you think about it, because they definitely, there's places that had to have more security, and that helped out a lot. There's places that they couldn't have quite as many actors come in. Usually they like to have an actor around every corner, but they couldn't have that because they just couldn't have that much volume of people around each other. So they said, if a place usually has 50 actors, they had to go and say, sorry, we can only have 30 of you. And you know what? The 30 that did come back were the ones that actually want to act there, not the ones that kind of fell in love with the atmosphere of just chilling out with each other. And they weren't really in it to act, they're just in it to be part of a family or part of their little group of people, we're always the clowns in the clown barn, we're supposed to go crazy. But yeah, you don't really add to it though, you're just kind of there. And nobody really says anything, but the people like me that are criticizing the place, saying, this place doesn't need freaking 80 dumb clowns in it, okay? It could get away with 5. And, those 5 that came back that were responsible enough are also people that want to, envelop the character of themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
Envelop. Is that a word?
I don't think so, but it's all right.
It sounds really good, though, doesn't it? You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
The people that want to come back were the ones that were responsible enough. The people that want to come back were the ones that first had to say, yes, I will wear a mask. Yes, I will stay socially distant. Yes, I will be clean, and I'll stay away from the customers. So, it was people that had to, sign a paper saying, yes, I will obey and I will respect, right? You want those people. Mm-hmm. So that was one good thing. And maybe the haunts learned that they really didn't need that many actors. I don't know why. I've always been against having too many people because I don't need a freaking different person yelling in my face every 5 feet. But I don't know why that is a thing that they believe they need, but they don't. So maybe this year has taught them that is not something that they need.
And that could also save money too if they're paying the people.
Yeah, they saved a lot of money this year too because they the actors had to come in with their own makeup, their own costumes. You know, you're responsible for your own stuff. Mm-hmm. That could have been a good thing in some places, you know, because the kids they really get to be their own. Like, this is what I want to be. This is the character that I want to be. I don't come in and then you tell me what character I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There was less days in the haunt schedules this year. A lot of people started later. I heard on a podcast they were talking about how they usually start like mid-September, but they just needed a couple weeks to get prepared. But usually those first couple weekends is kind of like is almost like dress rehearsal. It's real and real people come through, but you get to learn how to deal with like the asshole customers and all of the little hiccups and everything. Well, no, they start on the first weekend of October now. And now they got to take those 2 rehearsal weekends into October, and then they only have 2 more weekends left, or 2 or 3 more weekends.
Yeah.
Couple places. The only one that comes to mind anyway was Markov's Haunted Forest in Maryland. Instead of selling individual tickets, they only sold like groups of 6 tickets. Whether or not you had 6 people in your group, it didn't matter. If you wanted to go through alone, you had to pay like the $260 to go through that haunt.
Wow. But
if you had 7 people, well, sorry, that 7th person would have to buy it for $260.
Oh my God.
When you have to do it, you have to do it. They didn't have a problem because there was plenty of groups of people that definitely, would go. Yeah, at the same time, you did have to stay with that group of 6 people. It's not like you had 8 people. One of the groups had 2 people from the original group and 4 people that just tagged along. It's like, and then when they get into the place, it's like a group of 8 people. No, you couldn't do that. You had to stick with each other.
Oh, okay.
Definitely a learning experience. Definitely something that they'll probably implement in the future. Definitely the concept of not getting into people's faces all the time, even though plenty of places, I'll be honest about it, plenty of places didn't give a crap about that. They put up the guards and shit, to keep people away from the actors and everything. It didn't matter. But, the things were in place. There's definitely quite a few haunts out there that learned from you. You don't have to charge and run into somebody's face in order to scare them, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So
you brought up a lot of interesting stuff I didn't even think about, like the makeup and the costumes. That definitely probably gave it a unique feel.
There was also like virtual events, like a lot of these places. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but like they'll do like a virtual history tour of the place, virtual paranormal investigation tour, or something. And plenty of people like subscribed to it or bought the ticket to see the virtual event. I don't know if that's something that will continue in the future, just because it's hard for it. I myself want to believe that the only reason why that worked is because people want to support small businesses, and they're all about that right now.
Yeah.
But every single year, when it comes more and more common that this is just what businesses do,
mm-hmm.
like I hate to say it, but it almost feels more like kind of like a pity ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not to say that the event that they did was terrible or anything. I just can't see it being a normal thing going forward. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
One thing that was affected, home haunts. There's actually a couple in my city that I live in, but this year they kind of had it. Pretty much what all of them did was just displays in the front yard. Dark Realm, I'll just do that because that's the one I went to. But it was a display, but it was open air. There was a couple places that you could look inside. Like there was a room, like a dungeon room that you could kind of like look into, but you're still open air, and it was kind of like a walk around display.
Huh.
So that's the thing I noticed this year, just home haunts doing pretty much just lawn displays. Or that's in California. I don't know about other parts of the country as far as home haunts though.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'll get into the ones that I went to. right then and there, though, we're talking, we're talking about like how great the haunt industry is. Jesus Christ, this is home haunts that had to go above and beyond to make sure that they still had something to show their community.
Right.
These are people just doing it out of their own pocket, you know what I mean? Like, not trying to make a profit for anything. If anything, just trying to freaking raise funds for something, right? Doesn't that guy donate to, like, a homeless shelter or something like that?
Yeah.
Just to have something.
That's the only reason he did it this year, was because of the charity.
Just unbelievable. I feel like I don't appreciate it enough, to be honest with you. But it's just an incredible thing. Halloween is an incredible thing.
Yep.
But the other things that kind of affected it were the fact that nobody knew if the numbers were going to spike again. So a lot of places didn't even open up this year because of that fear. It's like, yeah, everything could get better, and then all of a sudden the typical fall flu season comes along and the city says, sorry, you got to shut down. It's like, hold up, I invested thousands and thousands of dollars into building new stuff this season, which is something that I usually do, let alone all of the stuff that I had to invest in to get the thermometers, the plexiglass, the hand sanitizing stations. A lot of places made their own masks just in case that nobody had a mask, or just to sell them just as a souvenir. And just to be told by the city, sorry, you can't do it anymore. It's like they would lose tens of thousands of dollars if that ever happened.
Yeah.
Oh, the claustrophobia tunnels was something that I was super glad to not see in every single haunt this year. I am not a fan of that thing. I know that the typical customer is, just because they don't go through a million of them a year.
That's with the air?
Yeah, the 2 airbags that you have to push through. Yeah. I think it's disgusting, but that would be a freaking COVID nightmare. I might have bumped into like 1 or 2 claustrophobia tunnels, and
really,
that kind of leads into the thing. Yeah, I mean,
oh, they didn't have regulations.
It's not that they didn't. It's that they don't have a citywide government that's so anal about everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just couldn't. That's the thing. Even if they did have a freaking city government that was like, oh my God, you gotta do this. Okay, where's the cop that's going through every 10 minutes making sure that everybody's following the certain guidelines? You know what I mean? Like, no. It's impossible to do it the way that they're, but some people are scared of it, some people aren't, and what's a cop gonna do? And even if he finds, like, that's it, we're shutting the place down. What, because I got 5 feet instead of 6? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
A lot of these cops, I mean, they're making money to just be there overtime, for crying out loud. What? What are you gonna do? It's not a great system. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I love the haunt industry. I love what they did, but the reality is 99% of the places that you went to were not completely 100% following procedures. But they definitely did with you entering. That was one thing that I was proud of. Making sure that you weren't someone that was questionable before entering a place.
Right.
Once you were in the place, that was a whole different ballgame. And not everywhere. I'm just saying the majority of the places, like anywhere you'd go, okay? Are you going to freak out if somebody has their mask on their upper lip and not over their nose if you go into the grocery store?
Yeah, exactly.
Some people will. I get that. Some people will. But the majority of people, okay.
So now we are going to go into the real meat of this episode, and that is the 2020 Haunt Tour. So why don't you walk us through your 2020 season?
I hope you're sitting down.
Yeah.
This is going to take a while.
Oh, boy.
Well, I went to 22 locations this year. Definitely not a record breaker. I'm not out to try to break records, but whatever. That's just what I got, all right?
What'd you do last season?
I don't know.
Last year?
I don't know. I don't care.
All right.
Needless to say, that opened up a couple weekends, and there was a couple places in New England I've never been to before that I wanted to check out. So, not big places, but still, I just want to see them.
Yeah.
One of those places was a little place called Devil's Playground up in Unity, New Hampshire. I didn't know a lot about this place. It looked like it was just a little community haunt, really out there in the boonies. Not a lot to say, but sometimes you surprise yourself at these places. They just have stuff that they just don't take pictures of. They don't really advertise that much, but then you go there and you see it, and it's like, oh, cool. Wow. I didn't know you guys had this. So, but that being said, Devil's Playground was not one of those places. I try my best not to get my expectations up about these places, but anywhere that I go, really. But it just makes for a much, much, much better experience if I just let it hit me as it is and not like, oh, I can't wait to see that thing that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
You know, because then I don't see it, or I do see it and it was not what I was expecting, so whatever. But anyways, Devil's Playground. So Devil's Playground started in 2012 as kind of like this little backyard haunted attraction, little tiny thing for the community. It might have been a little bit bigger back in its day, but it kind of just feathered out into this thing of like, well, it's something to let the kids have fun for a night instead of going out drinking and partying and stuff like that. This is a very, very small community place here. There's not a lot going on there. And it's advertised as like a 45-minute walk through the woods. It might have taken us less than 20 minutes. But I was excited. I'm proud about these places. I love these little tiny local places. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of like they're there for themselves and the community, not for people like me.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly okay. But the address of this place goes straight to a elementary school. And I'm thinking it's like, okay, like the elementary school puts it on, or the elementary school lets these people, work in the woods behind them or something like that. I can't tell from anything from the pictures about where exactly it is. And there's nobody there. Nobody. It's opening in 2 minutes. Like, there's 0 people. Where the hell is it? So, Jesus Christ. Did I drive all the way up here for nothing? We drive down the street just a little tiny bit. Now, the corner of my eye, through the bushes, little hoarder's house, I see one of those freaking stupid 12-foot skeletons that you see all over the goddamn place this year from Home Depot. Have you seen one?
Yeah, I have, actually. I saw it at Home Depot.
Okay, cool. You only saw it at Home Depot?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, no,
it was everywhere over here. I'm not even talking just haunted places.
Yeah, I probably saw them in some yards, but
we have a freaking restaurant down the street from me, and they put a freaking 12-foot skeleton on top of their restaurant. Ugh, God, it was everywhere. But that was the first place that I saw it, and I was like, oh, there's one. And if it wasn't for that freaking skeleton, I would have kept on driving. This place is pretty much in the backyard and backwoods of this little tiny house, but this place was a collection of crap over the years that's been sitting in the woods on sticks and on broken crap and on rusted metal boxes from cars or refrigerators or trailers. I don't know. Again, the place was made for the community to go and do something for the night, not for me, so I get it.
Give him a break, Woosh. Give him a break.
I'm sorry. There was a lot of places that I just want to be more honest about. I'm not trying to bash anybody. Like I'm saying, I'm giving the disclaimer. All right?
No, yeah. I mean, I think anyone listening to this.
This is definitely one of those places. It has a 0 budget. And that's fine. I don't care about that. It's only $10 for a ticket. I'm not even entirely sure where that stuff goes. I might go right back into the community. But there was a lot of weird things. Like we were the second group to go in. The first couple that went in, they were guided in by someone that was dressed up like a crazy mad scientist doctor.
Yeah.
And he was a character. He was like, hey, how you guys doing today? All right, let's go. Come on, you gotta follow me. Now, I didn't know this place was guided. I thought it was just walk through, but apparently it's guided. Now, this guy walked them in and walked them through the whole trail, and I'm like, oh, cool, we might get a crazy asshole like that, too. Nope. We had a girl that's in a freaking black sweatshirt with a little bit of, like, a crayon blood painted on her lip. She's like, all right, you guys with me, let's go. And I'm like, oh, come on! That's not fair!
You wanted the experience.
Well, whatever the best experience that they can give is what they should be offering. Now, apparently that kid was just really into whatever he was doing, and they just allowed him. It's not like somebody was really training anybody there of what to do, how to do it.
Yeah. It's a community haunt.
Whatever. First group got lucky. But it's a facade of a haunted house. I didn't know what was in it, so I was like, all right, I guess we're going right into the house. Cool. We walk right in, and I'm thinking I'm going to see like a typical haunted house set. Nope, it was pallets, plywood, painted black, nothing in there. And even the first actor that we honestly bumped into was a kid in a clown mask and a shirt and pants, just standing in the middle of a section. And I'm like, that's it? That's your hiding spot? And the stupid thing about it is, we look all around, there's plenty of hiding spots that they built. Places where they can tuck into, where they're supposed to pop out. Nope, this kid. We were the second group of the night. And then the actor right after them, we're not even 1 minute into this trail. Chainsaws.
Yeah.
And I go, first haunt of the season. And I'm like, no, I don't want any more chainsaws. I'm so sick of them. They're so cheap. I see the necessity of them. Don't put them 1 minute into the haunt. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's definitely something you put at the end to like run people out of the haunt or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting sick of that too, but at least they're at the end of the haunt, so it's like, you know, I can enjoy the rest of it.
Right.
And then you finally made it into the woods. There was nothing noteworthy about the woods. A lot of kids that, like I said, they were in like a one mask and like their sweatshirts and jeans and shoes, right? A couple girls dressed up as like creepy doll or creepy clown characters. They're just having fun. I get that. They're just having fun. It was fun. All right? But the funniest thing, the thing that I'll never forget. Okay. They had what I'm going to call a snake tunnel. It was just this little tiny section there with like an arched tunnel. We're walking through it. The guide is in front of us. And before she exits the tunnel, she turns around and looks at us and goes, "Look out for the snakes." We look down. I shit you not. It was 1 foot long sections of a black hose that were cut up and thrown all over the ground.
No, Woosh.
She seriously turns around.
No.
Hey guys, watch out for the snakes. And I get fucking bawled out laughing. Majority of the girls in there, they just kind of, you know, stared at you until you got close enough, and then they screamed their ass off.
Is this a boat?
I hate that. And even when we got back up to the front, we're a little bit older than the majority of their clientele. And the lady, the co-owner of the place, looks at me as like, "Did you guys see Bruce down there?" Like, who? "If you see Bruce down there, tell him to get his ass up here. We got customers waiting." Who's Bruce?
You guys are walkers?
Yes.
If you see Bruce down there, tell him to come in so the walker's going to start coming up here gradually. And tell him
Is a walker an actor?
you can act out any way you want.
Okay.
Walker is the one that runs the people.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're
Okay.
the people?
Yeah.
You've already been through?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Why did you say you were? What's the matter with you?
So we were walking. I don't know what a walker is.
What are you talking about, lady?
Are you serious?
You know, in hindsight, I should have been like, all right, I'm going to go get Bruce. I should have turned around.
Yeah.
Bruce, get your ass up here.
Wow.
But it took them a while to understand that I was not an employee. I don't even know how you can mistake me. There was only like 8 employees there. That was funny, though. Like I said, yeah, I'm not trying to bash the place. I'm just, you know, little tiny things that I would freaking criticize anywhere on doing.
This is Punks the Clown coming to you live from Nightmare on the Ridge.
called Nightmare on the Ridge. Brand new place. Another place that I could add to the schedule that I've been meaning to check out. All the way up in, I think, technically West Auburn, Maine, at the Wallingford Fruit House.
Wallingford Fruit House.
The place was cool. Nice little fruit stand kind of place that sold a bunch of their pre-made pies and seafood meats and jams and jellies. They got a bakery there with cider donuts and all kinds of pastries. They got a gelato bar. Ooh. And the place is owned by a hard cidery called Rickers. So they have a cider tasting bar that's right outside of their main house that you see from the street. And they got all different kinds of crazy flavors, too. They got like a blueberry, peach, pumpkin. So it's not just different kinds of apples like you usually see.
Wow.
They even got horseradish, and I had to try that, too. They had a little flight of 6 of them.
Nice.
Awesome place you can go, take everybody, sit down at a picnic table, just chill out for a while. They got a big animal petting zoo out back with goats and bunnies and 2 corn mazes, I think. Big apple orchard that people can go and pick from, and they make all their own regular cider there too. Yeah. Big cider operation, which kind of blew my mind just then and there. I didn't know the place was that. I went there to go see The Haunt.
Right.
Messaged The Haunt guys. Awesome people. Found out that what it really was that a long time ago, the Wallingford Fruit House tried to have a thing of their own, a little haunted like hayride or something like that. Yeah. And it just didn't really take off. So they didn't do it for a couple years, and then they kind of had these other people, which I just discovered that like Maine has a haunt community. People that have moved around from little place to little place, places that nobody ever talks about.
Right.
Like a long time ago, there was a place not far from there, a little south from there, called Chipman's Pumpkin Farm. It's still there, but they had a really good thing going for a long time, and one of the co-owners of the Nightmare on the Ridge was there for like 18 years before the place sold it. Mm-hmm. Some other people were from some other places that came up. They all went to what was turning into a big haunt called the Gauntlet, but the Gauntlet had to shut down a couple years ago. So yeah, just a couple people that have been in, I guess technically the main haunted house industry for a while. And they went ahead and made this place, which again, like I wasn't looking into, I wasn't really paying attention to. It's just a haunt name that I had to go see. Right. And went there, I was like, wow, they put in a lot of work here. It's stuff that I've never thought I would see. Like, up there, I mean.
Oh, okay.
But like I go in there, you're thinking like it's like a corn maze or like a walk through the woods, stuff like that. I go up there, they had their own barn that like they really decked out and all the different kinds of details with all these weird effects and everything that I haven't seen anywhere. And they even made their own like elevator simulator too. They're really proud of that too. So they didn't buy it like directly from Transworld or something like that. They made it.
Oh, okay.
So these people are really dedicated to what they do. But the whole place is kind of based around this one storyline of how the ringmaster, a long time ago, his father had a magical top hat. He used it to bring all of the children's biggest fantasies to life. His son wanted to bring out all of the evil and all the nightmares that everybody had. So he killed his father one night and stole the top hat. Now what you're going through is a show of him pulling out all of the different nightmares that you could go through. So you're going through like a haunted house, obviously. You're going through a elevator simulator of falling, a bunch of spiders, creepy clown, a dentist, all this kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how they cover the theme there, even though it's all kind of sporadic all over the place. But nobody does that.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea.
It's usually you walk into a place and it's like, and welcome to spooky room number 20, where we introduce this kind of concept. This is the butcher room. Cool. And now the next room, the spider room. Oh, okay. What does that have to do with butchers? Oh, we're done with the butchers. We're in the spider room. Oh, okay. All right. Now where are we? Now we're in the carnival. What does that have to do with Big Spider? We're out of the spider room. We're in the carnival. Okay? All right. Jeez.
No, that is a cool concept, though. There are some places that do try to play with that idea where it's an explanation for the different rooms, and it's I've definitely heard of that before, but that's nice to see a haunt like that
Yeah.
doing a storyline.
I mean, the thing that actually makes it a storyline is that the ringmaster actually is a character there.
Okay.
So he kind of entertains you at the beginning, and then you're allowed inside, and then you meet him again. It's actually a different actor, but the same character.
Wow.
For like a grand finale at the end of it. And I won't spoil it because actually they worked pretty hard on it, but it's a great place. You got to go check out if you're ever up in the area. Just in case anybody's listening and they happen to be in the area, it's one I would definitely recommend.
Sounds great.
Let alone all the other stuff you get to do there.
I need some of that horseradish.
Horseradish cider. You ain't lived, boy, till you had some horseradish cider. But yeah, I was just blown away by a lot of the effects that they had there, especially in the first barn that you'll walk into. Like the ringmaster actually like kind of turns into a ghost projection. It's like, what the hell? I've never seen anything like that. And it's almost like he walks into another room and then disappears. And then a chair starts rocking back and forth, like he either pushed it or sat in it. But he's a ghost right now. Mm-hmm. Kind of a weird boiler room effect that they had in there. Not a boiler room effect, but like the boiler room that they made looks like a legit boiler room. It's not like you're walking through a hallway with like steampunk stuff on the side. It's like, no, this is the actual boiler room for this barn house. But it's not. They completely designed it. Like crazy.
Wow.
Great actors there. One of the few places that I saw that they had to have actors that had a medical condition so they couldn't have a mask on, but they stayed far away from each other, from you. So, they had to show up alone. They had to show up and walk a different path to get to their spot. Mm-hmm. And it was just them in that spot. They stayed like 20 feet away from you. Mm-hmm. But they're still actors. There was like, no, but I still want to do it. It's like, okay, you got a medical condition, but you still want to do this? Hell yeah. It's like, all right, there you go. Make it happen. They got an awesome church scene where you're walking into the church and there was a nun character that you could only see her silhouette as you were walking into the place, so she wasn't just like hiding like other actors would.
Right.
The pews that they made in the church, they all started moving like there was some kind of weird poltergeist. It was crazy. Big giant spider room, a big spider comes and attacks you. Probably my favorite place that they had there was like the cannibal meat section or cannibal like butcher section.
Right.
Because they actually designed the place with its own soundtrack, and it had its own like campy music that went along. And the guy told me that he actually made his own music, and he wanted it to sound kind of like the old 80s horror movies.
Right.
And then this kid came out of nowhere, and he just starts screaming this stuff that instead of attacking me or trying to pop out and scare me, like he just starts screaming. He's like, all I hear is screaming. All I taste is blood. I can't stop thinking about it. Like legit crazy person. Right? And I was like, wow. This kid, he's not even paying attention to me. He's just being crazy on his own, walking around the room.
Yeah.
And I walk out of the structure that I'm in, and I'm walking well into the next scene, and he's still screaming his ass off in there. Make it stop! I'm like, Jesus, this kid is great.
Nice.
Another great thing about the place is I asked him if it was awkward if I went in alone, because I'm imagined that the majority of people that go to this place are all part of a group. I ask a lot of places that because a lot of the times I am alone. Surprisingly enough, a lot of these places, like, we don't care.
Right.
You can be alone. No, they'll get you, because, I don't know, I feel like a couple years ago I could have gone through a lot of places and people didn't know, actors didn't know if I was, like, part of the customer or I was just a guy walking through checking up on things.
Yeah, that's true.
But it hasn't really been like that in a couple years, so I don't know. Kudos to everybody, especially them, because I know they don't usually get a lone customer.
It does throw you off. Just when I was doing a haunt a couple years ago, yeah. Especially if it's more like a corporate or like a bigger place where they have people coming through and like checking up on you.
Yeah, I get it. But, I always ask now. I was like, are they going to be okay? Should I go in with a group? I don't like going in with a group because I have to go at their pace. But
right.
But no, they actually, they treated me like I was just a regular customer, and they all entertained me quite well. I thought the place was great.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like it was more of like a experience with the fruit house there, and it's good when a place has stuff that you can do other than the haunt, like that.
Plenty of stuff, plenty of shit to eat, plenty of stuff to drink. Not to say that like the petting zoo and all of like the kid-friendly stuff was available when the haunt was going on, but at least it was still a place to like chill out.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm here in the middle of Fright Kingdom. We're right before we go into, oh Jesus.
Fright Kingdom.
Oh,
One of your
shoot.
favorites in New England, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in a long time, though.
In Nashua, New Hampshire, I'd say that they went through COVID procedures great this year. They actually made their own video with Chris, their, I think, technical manager.
Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm the Director of Operations here at Fright Kingdom. Although these are unprecedented times, one thing that hasn't changed is our dedication to safety.
Made a great video, very entertaining. Tim, the owner, was telling me that he actually went to Disney World shortly after Disney World decided to open back up, and he studied exactly what Disney World was doing in order to keep things open. He came back and talked to the city of Nashua and actually presented a lot of the procedures that not just him, other businesses in Nashua were going to start following. So like he found out the brand of the thermometers that they were using, all the different kinds of stuff. So he actually implemented a lot of the designs to help businesses actually start back up in Nashua.
Wow.
So let alone his place, obviously. His place was Jesus Christ. There's usually a line going all the way out into the street. Obviously couldn't really have that this year, so he kind of turned his entire parking lot into one big waiting line. He put X's everywhere for where you'd be 6 feet away from people.
Yeah.
All inside. Throughout the entire haunt, the waiting line that went inside all through the attractions, 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet. There was an X through the whole thing. And usually at Fright Kingdom, they have a midway inside. Well, they couldn't really have that this year, so they kind of put it outside.
It's a good idea.
This year, you get to kind of go in, and it's still more of a waiting line, but it's like a very entertaining museum. Because this year, big year for them, they worked with the Adam Sandler Netflix movie, Hubie Halloween. That whole haunted house segment, if you've actually seen the movie, that's from them. And they actually broke down a lot of their haunt and brought it over to Salem or wherever they were shooting over there and kind of rebuilt it.
Wow.
So that they could actually shoot the movie over there. Even some of their actors even had to get their SAG cards because they're in the movie.
Wow.
Really exciting stuff for them. And a lot of the stuff that's in the movie, they got to keep as props, to show in the museum there. So you see, like, there was a big Dracula and Frankenstein. Like, He got those and all the decorations that he put outside the house. There was a parade float that was kind of like a haunted castle. And for like literally half a second in the movie, God, they put so much work into this parade float. But that's like in the middle of the midway there inside, so you get to walk around that, and
wow.
It was just really cool to see all that stuff. As far as the other COVID stuff that happens there, he couldn't have his pitch black attraction anymore. In order to have that, you have to be able to feel around, right?
Right.
So touching walls, touching each other, bumping into each other, getting caught up, you can't have that. People stayed pretty distant away from each other. There really wasn't that much of a line or a hold up in that place. They're very good at not getting a hold up in that place in general.
Right.
But his haunt in particular had a lot of drop panel scares. There's a lot of holes in walls where people pop out from. And there's plexi pretty much all over the place now. So a lot of people popping up on the other side of walls, slamming the plexi. Mm-hmm. So still scary, It's just, it doesn't have to be completely in your face anymore.
Right.
He's got a food truck out in the Midway now. He's got all the gift shops and everything out there. He's got a couple props from an old Halloween store that used to be in Worcester called the Halloween Outlet. It went out of business, I think, 2 years ago now. And but you can still see some of the, like, their iconic things that they had there. So like they got the big jack-o'-lantern entrance. They have these weird jack-o'-lantern creatures with like 3 legs and stuff. Like he's got them inside and everything.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see some New England haunted history, or New England Halloween history.
I love it.
It's definitely one of the best in the country. Loved making the video for him. I got really involved with the videos this year, and that got a lot of attention. I was very proud. People were even telling me, it was like, I wasn't going to go. You showed me the video. I'm going this year.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, nice. I guess that was kind of the goal.
Yeah. That shows you the dedication, too, if he went to Disney just so they could get their protocols down and so he could be able to open, you know?
He's a Disney addict.
Yeah.
He loves Disney. There's a couple haunt owners that have this strange fantasy of, like, making the haunted version of Disney.
Yeah.
And, you know, they just love everything that they do. The way that they got all the effects working, the way that they have the theme park working and everything, and they really like to implement exactly what they put into it.
Right.
So he would have went regardless of if there was a COVID thing or anything, but he definitely did put the effort in to see what exactly they do and where they get stuff from, blah, 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 all that stuff, and he brought it back home and showed exactly what they were going to do.
Hang on, if you read me, this is a monthly broadcast to everyone on Station 13.
We have complaints. Any of us?
Repeat, for reach and high. You can get to the escape hub now and get off the station.
Oh, man.
You need to get off the station, keep your mouth shut, and get to the escape hub.
Haunted Labyrinth down in Cranston, Rhode Island. This year their theme was Spaceship 13, which doesn't sound like the greatest title, but whatever, it was fun. So everybody that knows me and my history with this place knows that I love the fact that they just change it up every single year. It's a different design every year. It's a different theme every year. It goes to support the youth organization that they're running out of. Brings a lot of these kids in that love helping out the community too, and the place that they're working in. And they're doing it all volunteer. So the place is a great local haunted short usually. And this year I was kind of concerned because they usually have a lot of doors in there that you don't think are doors. You walk into a room, it's like, well, how do I get out? I was like, oh, you got to push the wall open. Oh, okay, geez. How do I get out of this one? Oh, you got to duck under the fireplace. Oh, okay, Jesus. Well, how do I get out of this place? You open up the library bookcase there. Oh God, how the hell was I supposed to know any of that crap? You know?
So they have a person in each room telling you if you can't figure it out for yourself.
No, the whole fun of it was that you kind of figure it out for yourself. But I think eventually they would be like, all right, come on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought that you were mimicking someone that was in the room.
No. It's just kind of the way it is. But they told me that they couldn't really have a lot of that stuff because they can't have you pushing stuff and touching stuff all the time. They did have a couple things though. Impressed actually that they could still do that, because that's like I said, that's kind of one of their crowning achievements. They are a labyrinth.
Right.
So the whole theme was that you're on a spaceship station, I guess, and it gets taken over by, I don't know, maybe aliens, maybe a chemical that turns people into mutants because you're doing experiments on the space station from some kind of unknown organism that, I don't know. They don't really explain it that much. But they do a great job with just making it a different theme every year. That's why I love them.
Yeah.
They had this big spike wall that came in and looked like it was about to crush you before you realize that you're supposed to like go through the spike wall in order to escape it. It's just weird stuff, right? I love the place. They put a big smile on my face.
Ooh.
They were telling me that literally the people that said it was okay or not okay to run a haunted attraction this year came, I want to say, like 10 minutes before they were scheduled to open. They went through and they said that everything was okay. Maybe change up a couple things here and there, I don't know, but
yeah,
you know, it's good that they actually let them, because it's God, that would have pissed me off. Can you imagine you put in all that effort and you think that everything is okay, but they haven't really given you the 100% go ahead, and you got everybody ready to go, and then all of a sudden, all right, let's inspect this bitch. It's like, oh, come on. That's one of the places that I go to every single year. I gotta support them. They're amazing. And but haven't been to 13th World in a couple years. So 13th World is actually what was once called the Haunted Hill in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And that was a haunt that was run by the recreational department of Cumberland, and they kind of sold the whole thing to the people that were actually running the thing, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they took it over, so now it's theirs, right? So they still work with a little bit of help from the town, but it's more, it's their baby now.
Right.
And they decided to call it 13th World, and that was a couple years ago they changed that.
The Rhode Island haunts like the number 13 in their name.
Oh, you know, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, good call. 13th World, I really liked it when it was Haunted Hill. They changed it up every year. It was always a little different here and there. They're pretty much the same concept. You go in the same way. It's kind of the same sets, and you come out. But like one year, they had like a weird bus ride that took you from the parking lot, and it kind of drove all over the lawn. It kind of make it feel like you drove a long distance into nothing.
Yeah.
And there was, all the seats were ripped out and they were put on the side of the bus. I don't know where the hell that bus went, but that was cool that one year.
Yeah.
A couple different scenes that they don't have anymore, but I don't know. Jeez, this 13th World, it's like they pretty much just keep on putting up the same thing. They're not very enthusiastic. They're not really trying to make anything new. It's just kind of like the same sets. No real new effects or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Way too many chainsaws. Way too many of them. You hear them everywhere. They're all doing the same thing. Yeah. And it's become one of these, again, what I call the babysitter haunts. It's one of these places where they just... kids get dropped off, the parents go away for a couple hours, and they let the kids just go and do whatever they want.
Right.
Not that the place offers really a spot for the kids to hang out in. There's a little ice cream place across the street where all the kids go to. Mm-hmm. But they're all annoying little brats, you know. They just do all kinds of stuff. And even the people that do, like, show up, like, the kids that show up there that do have cars and stuff, like, they're showing up with alcohol and drugs and crap like that.
Really?
The cops seem to be coming there, pretty regularly. So, I don't need to go there anymore. It seemed to me like the majority of the money that they got, they only invested in a brand new street sign, which looks really cool. It's a 13th World sign on the street. It's like in 3D cutouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been a couple of years since I've been there. I can't tell the difference between the last time I've been there and this year.
Right.
Except there's more brats.
Now, did you say when it used to be better, was that when the recreation department ran it?
But the thing is that, like, the recreation department didn't run it. The two people that own it were still the ones running it. And I don't know exactly what the story is. I don't know if it was exactly them running it or anything like that. But, I don't know. It's just become a big place full of kids. And maybe that's why it's not evolving anymore. You know, they know these kids are going to show up. They're not going to appreciate the work that they put into it. I can understand that.
Right.
But, yeah, it's not for a haunt enthusiast, to be honest with you. I'm sorry.
All right, fine, be that way.
I will. Next night was a Trail of Terror down in Connecticut, Wallingford, Connecticut.
Ooh, one of my favorites.
Big place. Real quick, I love the detail. I love the detail at this place. If I was to say the most positive thing about this place, it has more detail than most places that I go to. A lot of the staff is volunteer. They raise a crap ton of money for all different kinds of charities and organizations, particularly in their community too. But the thing that's always kind of kept me away from them is that they never really had a great system of crowd control.
Yep.
You're in line there for like 5 hours some of these nights. There's been years when I went there and I made sure that I was the first person in line. They tell you we definitely prefer that you buy online tickets.
Yeah.
And they even have like sections of the line. Like, do you have the 7 to 7:30 time slot? Then you enter this line. Do you have the 7:30 to 8 o'clock time? You enter this line. But if you don't have a ticket, then you enter this line. There's only limited tickets that they have for people that are paying with cash at the door. I wanted to be the first ones just to see what happened. I shit you not. I was there 5:30 one of these years, right? The sun was still out. Everything was fine. First person there. Still did not go into the haunt until about 10:30.
How?
Pissed me off. Because there's nobody there that's like stopping all of these people from like drinking and smoking in line and stuff like that. Smoking pot and stuff. They have cops there. The cops aren't doing anything though. You know? So yes, for a freaking long ass time.
Wait, so if you were there first in line, how did you not get in until 10:30?
Because they were just letting the people that had the time tickets go in first.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, what? Why can't we go in? Why can't it's just two of us? Why not?
Or
Sorry, we can't.
Don't they usually go timed, like back and forth? They do a timed group and then they do the main group, time group, main group type thing.
Yeah, usually. They didn't care. But this year I reached out to them and they said that they'd be glad to provide a ticket so long as I provided a review for the scare factor. I was like, all right, fine.
That's good.
I did that. I did my review, posted. I haven't heard anything back from them. I barely even got a like about the review, I think, on Facebook, to be honest with you. Actually, now I gotta fucking make sure that I'm not bullshitting. Yes. Posted on the Scare Factor Facebook page. It's got 5 thumbs up. I know one of them did not go to them, so maybe 4 people that know about the place. Not even, and 1 share. That was from me.
But did you tag them in it so they know that it's there, or?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're tagged. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like, all right. Well, you know what? Thanks for the ticket. You're welcome for the review. Whatever. Jesus Christ. Which sucks because there's so many places like this. They're like really, really good at one aspect, and I want to see it every year. But this other aspect of running, I guess any business really, they don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
And it just takes away from like, okay, I can't deal with that part. I need to go see this part some other day. It's like,
yeah.
Anyways, great detail. Oh my god, like they have like a whole city section in there now. I think for the past couple years they kind of look like they're changing themes every year, but they're not really. Like, I think this year is called Fear is Art. And last year, or maybe 2 years ago, was like Fear Takes Time. And then the other year was Fear Takes Root. And it's kind of like the theme of like all of their past themes kind of molded in with each other.
Okay.
It was kind of cool. At the end of it, you could go and scan a QR code that they had and then vote for what your favorite scene was. And my scene is usually the 13 Ghosts scene, because I remember that from probably the first year I went there. Mm-hmm. Where they had all different 13 ghosts from the movie, and they were all behind plexiglass with like the little Latin symbols on them or whatever they were.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's cool. It's unique,
Mm-hmm.
Great effects too. The place is awesome, and that's what I hate about it. Because I need to see it like every single year. I could go through that place like 10 times and probably still wouldn't understand where the hell I was and miss things all the time.
Right.
But now this year it wasn't that bad because they actually got to go right in, and there really wasn't a crowd or anything like that. So this year was really good. But still, that it just kind of messes with you when it's like, all right, thanks for that. All right, boom, let me work really hard in this review. Here you go. Who are you? Never mind. All right. It's okay. It's all right.
Right.
I guess that's how it be, though.
Yeah, it is.
That's how it be, noobs.
One thing I did like about that place was the actors. How was the acting this year?
The acting actually was really good. Every single one of them was actually trying to be a character.
Right.
Practically all of them had lines, and even the ones that didn't have lines and knew exactly where to stand and how to interact with their scene and their surroundings and everything. They are really good. But I don't know how to really tell people the set design, the costumes, the acting, the makeup, all of that stuff right there is stuff that you'd think is all a haunt needs. But you're still a business that is entertaining people, and that customer service side of it is a huge part of it. It's even bigger than all that other stuff combined.
Right.
You go to a movie. Greatest, and then the actor is standing right outside it. You go, hey, I thought you did a good job. If that actor goes, oh yeah, well, fuck you. You're gonna be like, well, that movie sucks now. That's kind of what it feels like, except no, there is nobody standing at the end going, fuck you. So, sorry. So hopefully they implement this whole time ticketing thing a little bit better going forward, and definitely break up the line like they did this year too. They had to this year, obviously, but
right.
And I might have gone on a really good night too. I think that was actually a Thursday night too that I went, now that I think about it. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, so not quite as busy anyway.
Right.
Well, moving right along. Salisbury Woods! Let me tell you about this place. It's in Salisbury, New Hampshire.
Cool.
All right, next place. I've wanted to see this place probably more than any other place that I haven't seen before this year. This guy was on the Hangout or in the East Coast Haunt Club posting a couple pictures of what he was doing a few years ago, and he was working on this big mechanical dragon head. And I thought it was just a home haunt.
Yeah.
And technically it is. It's a haunt at a guy's home. But, when you think about that home haunt, you're thinking like it's just a yard display.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no way that this guy is making this big, giant, cool dragon head that's breathing smoke and it's got glowing eyes and a mouth opens up and stuff. There's no way he's making this just for a home haunt. I gotta go see what this guy's up to. Haven't had the chance to. Went to too many regular haunts, and then, by the time I'm done with my regular haunts in New England, I want to go out into the country and see some of the other big guys. So this year, I finally had the opportunity to, and I am so glad that I did. Oh my God, this place is great. Great, I tell you.
Well, tell us.
No. So Salisbury Haunted Woods is pretty much run in the backyard and backwoods of this guy who's been putting it on for quite a few years now. He raises money for the Salisbury Elementary PTG, parent-teacher group, the Merrimack Valley Middle School, the PTO, and the music boosters up there. So pretty much all the profits that he makes there goes back to supporting the educational youth community in the town, which is awesome too. As a character up there, his name is Scabby. And he likes to make jokes and everything like that. A couple of the jokes.
Hey, what's the difference between a teenager and a watermelon? One of them is a lot of fun to hit with a hammer. The other is a watermelon. True story.
Another one, he goes, all right, what's the difference between a pile of dead babies and a Porsche?
You can't drive a dead baby.
You can't drive a dead baby. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't have a porch in my garage.
Oh my god.
You can't drive a dead baby. Oh, that needs to be a bumper sticker. Oh god. Well, anyways, he entertains people immensely up there. Like I thought he just kind of designed and owned the haunt and helped manage it. But no, he's a performer. He's great. Oh, and he would also end his jokes by saying true story," which made him even funnier. So, but the great thing about the place was that there was another haunt in Portsmouth, New Hampshire that closed shop, I think last year, maybe 2 years ago, called the Haunted Barn. So it was another yard haunt, kind of a walk around decoration museum kind of place. She gave it up, and she had all the stuff that needed a new home, and he got the majority of it, if not everything. So pretty much all of her stuff you can see up at his place now. Great that this happened to be my first year going, because he had a big long waiting line that now goes through like this awesome graveyard with a couple actors in there too. All these lights and everything, big jack-o'-lantern display, another freaking 12-foot tall skeleton. It really feels like it's an actual community event, you know? I love the places that you go to that are like these big, what I call juggernaut haunts, and there's just like freaking detail after intense, in your face, all of this stuff, you know? Like those places are awesome. But there's something to be said about these other little places that not many people go to, and it's just kind of this like awesome, nostalgic community hidden jewel, really, right?
Right.
And it'll never be as big as those places, but I don't want them to be. I want people to know about them so the right people can go to them and support them and everything. But it's always going to be that just like, wow, this guy made this. All these kids are just volunteering to be here. Everybody's having a good time, you know, this stuff, you know?
Right.
And that's exactly what I felt there. My God, I had no idea what I was in for. That dragon head, I got to see it. That dragon head was freaking 5 times bigger than I thought it was going to be. And they had a big giant, like, ant or spider that you walked under. The biggest freaking insect that I've ever walked under. Big maze full of a bunch of, like, stuffed teddy bears and stuff that were all nailed against a fence and everything like that, like a UFO thing. God, there was all kinds of big Dracula castle with all these different props. And, oh my God, it was crazy. I was in there. I felt like I was in there for like 40 minutes.
How big was the place?
Big.
What was it in?
Well, just in the woods.
Oh, in the woods. Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, you know, there was a whole like 100 yards of like nothing but woods until you get to the next spot. Like, no, the place was packed with stuff.
Right.
No, it was just awesome. I'm definitely going there every year. Definitely.
Wow.
Next, I went to the house in Haunted Hill, which was another home haunt, and it was in this guy's backyard. A little bit more secluded, and really not many people know about that. If you were driving by, you would just think this guy's some kind of a crazy Halloween nut. But you park on the side of the road, stuff like that. No parking lot. But wow, wow, the work that this guy put into it too. Another place where it was just like, it is the community, but it is more like friends and neighbors that kind of got together to do this thing. And this guy was on stilts the whole freaking time I was there. He's definitely, I think he's the oldest haunt in New Hampshire. Definitely.
Really?
Been doing it for quite a long time, yeah. But there's just all these different kinds of stuff. I said it the best in the video. It's like you'd swear to God that you were walking in and seeing the collection of some kind of crazy hoarder that loves Halloween and Americana rusty stuff. Probably the most insane thing that I saw was that he had this tree stump that was in the middle of the haunt. Feels like the thing is 6 feet wide. And they carved out the inside of the stump so that somebody could pop up from the inside. Yeah. Which is just insane on its own. Because it kind of looked like a well when you were walking into it, but then you realize it's a tree stump. And then in the very next room, he was saying that there's this little mine shaft, and if you go into the mine shaft, it goes down into the ground and then comes up through that tree trunk. So they actually dug underneath the tree trunk and then came up underneath it, which is a crap ton of work. I don't care who you are, if you don't know, it's insane. Wow. And you would never know that, though. That's the funny thing. If he wasn't there, like walking with me and pointing out all of these things, I never would have known that. I never would have even known that there was a mine shaft thing there.
That's pretty crazy.
They dug out a whole swamp scene and made a bridge that goes over the swamp. There's a bridge that kind of like goes over the middle of his property that kind of already had like a gully going through it. Mm-hmm. But he's digging everything out like crazy, and he said that next year, if he gets all the lights and all the skeletons going, you'll come to a point in the middle of the bridge where you can look down into the gully and you see all of these skeletons like working coal mining thing. just look, and there's tons of skeletons just all over the place, just digging and working on this little stream. I call it a gully, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about, you know, just
well, what would the skeletons be, animatronics? Like how would that work?
I would imagine a couple of them he might make animatronic, but he did have quite a few of them there. He just didn't have lights on them this year. Oh, okay. But he's going to keep it going, and I think he wants to have water coming through it too, so that'll be a really crazy scene too. Out in the front of the house, he's got all of these dead trees that have all this spider webbing around them. And I guess one of the guys that he works with, Steve, kind of got all of those trees from the highway department and then planted them all 3 feet into the ground. He would just swear to God that those trees were just there, growing, and then he wrapped spider webbing around them. He was like, nope, I spent about friggin' a month putting this all together. Like, wow. The hell do you... And that guy, he freaking changes costumes about like 5 times a night because he just likes to switch it up a bit. Right. He's got all these lobster claws that he puts on his fingertips, and it makes a really great sound, and it looks awesome too. Mm-hmm. Like all of this unique stuff that people just come up with just because they love it. They love scaring little people, you know? All the kids that come through, all the little people that go through. It's like, oh, more little people. Well, they're little people because they don't work at these places, so they're just stuff you'd never think, ever. You wouldn't even think that they would like sell food there, for crying out loud. You know, I just think it's, like I said, it's just some crazy guy's backyard. Yeah. But my God, the work they put into it, and like I said, the camaraderie that it makes with all of these people from the community that want to show up and help out and work and make an October. Really, it's crazy, and all the stuff that all of the money that he collects, he pretty much gives back to the community too. I think it goes towards like the Thanksgiving community dinners or like the Christmas, one way or another, you know, just giving back. Right. Just great.
Oh yeah, baby, we're back. Legends of Fear.
Quickly becoming the number one spot in New England, I think.
Really?
I think so. Hey, you can't go wrong, all right? They got a long hayride with great scenes. They got a great walk through the woods. An awesome midway with fresh cider donuts and lemonade. Great gift shop. Just the decorations are like crazy. This year he hired Daniel Greenwolf, Celtic magician, to entertain the crowds that were waiting in line for the hayride. Mm-hmm. They built up a couple new structures in the trail, like the Burnt Broomstick. It was kind of like this awesome, like, Wicked Witch retail store, kind of. That's the way that I'm describing it anyway.
Yeah.
They put a lot of work into that, thanks to Amanda Revenge for putting that up. Great work with the COVID regulations, too. Like, they were trying to keep everybody away real good. And, like I said, the other hayrides, they don't even do the hayrides anymore. They turned them into drive-thrus, right?
Yeah.
Well, Legends of Fear, the hayride, they run it most nights that they're operating. It's like, how the hell are they going to do this? So they put together a great plan where they put people on every corner of the wagon instead of just sporadically all over the place. So whatever, your group just stays on one corner of the wagon.
Right.
The wagon itself was like 8 feet wide, maybe 10 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
All the actors were great again. Sound design, the light design, they're awesome down there. They really know what they're doing. They love it. It's definitely another place that I'm never going to miss.
Where is that located?
Sheldon, Connecticut. It's just one of those places. They take care of you. They're a great family. And you feel that. You feel that every time you go there, that they really love what they do.
Right.
Awesome what they have out there. That's why I say it's probably one of the biggest up-and-comers in the country, let alone New England.
Right.
Haunted Overload. I'm still pissed off that you haven't seen it.
I know.
I'm really mad.
Soon.
It was funny this year because last year they put in all this effort to make this really extravagant queue line, which it always is, like once you get into the woods. But right on the outside of the woods, they had to make a waiting line. And that's where the actual apple orchard can see. And they couldn't really leave it up all year, which they never usually do anyway, but they couldn't really have it outside because there's still customers that come in just to go to the apple orchard with like their kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they got this big Grim Reaper thing that's like all crazy looking, and a whole bunch of them actually that go right up the hill and back into the forest. And they told them, yeah, we can't have those here just sitting around. We got too many kids that are complaining, or not kids, freaking Karen mothers complaining. So they took them all and they actually brought them all like deeper into the back where they couldn't see them, so that the line kind of goes up and over a hill.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. They freaking took all these reapers and they put them into the forest, and so it's kind of like you're walking through this aisle of all of these reapers that are just lurking over you and just like looking down and growling and stuff. It's just so cool. Because the greatest thing about Haunted Overload is that all of the stuff he has there, all of the statues and structures that he made are all made out of like real wood.
Yeah.
And it looks like that. So it looks kind of like natural. Looks like Mother Nature kind of like grew these demon things out of the ground with wood. So it's just, oh God, the place is so good. Oh.
I know. I gotta check it out.
It's a little bit of a different kind of haunt, in my opinion, though, because you go there for the ooh and ah, And it feels like the actors there know that. So they're kind of part of like the ooh and ah. Every once in a while, an actor will be like these other typical actors that you see in other haunts, and they'll kind of pop out at you or they'll startle you a little bit. But for the most part, they feel like they're these creatures that are part of this little town. And this town has been kind of taken over by an evil spirit.
Yeah.
Which I guess is pretty much the backstory of this place. But it's just, you go into like different scenes all over the place, and it's still just kind of like, no matter where you are, you're just like, whoa, creepy. Right? But you never really feel threatened.
Yeah.
Me, anyway. I'm sure there's plenty of people that go through there like, oh, I don't want to go in there. But it's just never like that. The sound's really loud. The lights are blaring all over the place. The creature and actors are just kind of like walking around like regular people, just staring you down most of the time. That's not to say anything bad about the actors. I mean, they look awesome. Their costumes are all authentic. But it really is like the closest thing that you can get to walking through like an art gallery, except the art gallery is a haunted attraction.
Right.
Put up a couple new structures. I know they're working on some big stuff right now. They got people over out there demolishing things right now, but that's what they do practically every year. So never seen a more dedicated crew, to be honest with you.
And then didn't they partner with a brewery to make the Haunted Overload beer this year?
Oh yeah, I don't know if I can say they partnered with them. I'm not entirely sure what exactly the relationship is there, but pretty much what they did was Demerit Hill Farm was growing their pumpkins, or I don't know where exactly they got the pumpkins from. They might have, because Haunted Overload doesn't grow their own pumpkins, but they get a crap ton of pumpkins. And there's a little brewery, they're called Strip 9. The guy there decided to, what if I take a couple of the pumpkins from this farm and try to make a nice pumpkin beer out of it, and I'm going to call it Haunted Overload Beer, or just call it Haunted Overload. And it turned out to be this great, sweet, smooth pumpkin beer. I was lucky to grab a 4-pack when they still had them. I don't think they make them anymore because he only made them small batch.
Right.
That was the big thing, is that he could only make small batch.
Yeah.
I was real lucky that the one time that I actually walked into the place, I was like, you got any more of that? Yeah, I got one thing left. Oh, my God.
Wow.
But he kept selling out of it. People from all over the place were buying the stuff like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah. Another Haunted Overload, another great place that I go to every single year. We'll never miss it. Hopped on over to Lebanon, Maine after that, which is maybe 30 minutes up the road, to the Haunted Grandview Manor, which is in its second year of official operation. Even though they used to be a home haunt, I talked about them last year. Again, bumped into another 12-foot skeleton. Freaking thing is everywhere. I love these guys. Oh my God. I walk through this place. It's small, but they're making a go for it. They used to be a home haunt. They bought a commercial property. They built a structure to make a haunted house in, and they carved out the woods around it so that they actually make a haunted trail around it. But when I walk through there, this guy's just got this nostalgic feel. I can't really explain it. He's just got the lights set perfectly. He's got all the old props working perfectly. It's just... It just feels like the way that haunted houses used to be.
Right.
And he's just got a way of displaying it and a way of making it feel and everything like that. And I was really proud of them this year. They had a lot of people in their parking lot compared to the last time that I went. They did have a year to advertise and everything. I even caught a little bit of their radio commercial that played.
Oh, really?
I was like, wow, they even made a radio commercial and everything.
1:39 p.m. Woodworth Road in Lebanon, Maine. Buy tickets now at hauntedgrandviewmanor.com. hauntedgrandviewmanor.com.
So they were doing really good. I think that'll be another big haunt that people start talking about in the years to come.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Next night, headed back down towards the Providence area and to Warwick, Rhode Island to check out the Bates Haunted Yard display. A little bit of history here. So last year, in 2019, when I was making all of my videos and putting them on Facebook, this guy that runs a Bates Haunted Yard display, he contacted me and he was asking me if I'd be willing to come down and make a little video of his yard display because he puts a crap ton of work into it.
Yeah.
I just didn't have time to go down there. My schedule fills up really quick. So I promised him that I would come back this year sometime. The pandemic hit, and his yard display is usually a little bit of a walkthrough, kind of like a haunted farm. Like he's got all these corn stalks, he's got like a big windmill, a little bit of a farm display, all these animatronics and everything. It was actually really cool, actually, that he could fit all this stuff into his yard. Well, this year, couldn't really do that, so he still made a display, and he thought it would be an awesome idea to make a life-size replica of the front of the Michael Myers house from Halloween, the original 1970 shit. 8?
Come on, Woosh.
Well, too many goddamn movies came out at that time. Hold up. Quick look. Halloween 1978. I was right. That was the first thing I said. You shut up. I gotta tell you, I was blown away. I mean, he kept on putting up pictures and posts and everything of this place before I went, so I was kind of like, oh, well, now I know what it's going to look like. But when I got there, and I saw, like, all the lights on, and he was dressed up as Michael Myers walking around and everything, too, it turned out to be a great night. I'm super proud that I went to go see it. Seeing all these people show up, too, lots of people. I had no idea this many people would show up. And they're just taking pictures with Michael and taking pictures of the place, asking about it. They just stand there for like 20 minutes just looking and gawking over the place. Because it was so awesome. He had like the Haddonfield, Illinois, like town sign, exactly how it looks in there. He'd have the Judith Myers gravestone, exactly how it looked. Well, all these little tiny things. There was an address that was on the house. It was actually like his address on the actual street.
Yeah.
Oh, God, they got Ghost Bob up in one window. They got Judith Myers naked up in another window, but she was kind of covered up in crap.
Wow.
An actual replica of Dr. Loomis's mask was on the Dr. Loomis character. Even the gun that he used was like exactly the gun that he used. It was just insane. Insane how much work he put into this. You know, even down to like the columns like on the railings. It was like, yep, there's that many. Yep, they're spaced out that far apart. Jeez.
That's crazy.
And he deserved all the credit that he got for it. The local news came out and did a piece on him. And I think it inspired a guy that is one of the producers for the regular ABC Good Morning America to kind of do a piece on extravagant Halloween displays. So on Halloween morning, my video actually that I shot for the guy is on ABC Morning America.
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably my crowning moment of this year, actually, that I went down there and made that video. God, I worked on that video for like 10 hours straight. I didn't go to bed till 5 o'clock in the morning until it was done. But it was cool because all the other videos that I make, like I kind of had to create like from scratch, right? Kind of like figure out what I'm going to do with music and stuff like that. Well, that, you know, the whole theme was Halloween.
Right.
The original movie. So like, okay, well, I already know which music to use. All right. I'm talking about Ghost Bob up here. I know which video clip to use of Ghost Bob. So
yeah,
it was cool to kind of put that all together. I completely lost track of time, but so can't wait to see what he puts together next year. Next year is probably going to be different. could walk around in a place again. So
That's a pretty big setup. Do you think he would use that as like an area in a haunt in the future?
Sure.
Or do you know what he's doing with it?
No, I have no idea what he's doing with it, but I would doubt that he would put up the same thing.
Yeah.
He might. I mean, I'm not one to say. If anything, he might make another display from another classic movie, and he'll just use, he'll update that set.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, but that's not my call.
All right. Sam, where are we at?
The Witchy Woods.
The Witchy Woods.
I forgot my mask.
No, you gotta stay.
I can't.
You broke the rules, you gotta stay in the car.
Stop number 13 was Witch's Woods because I didn't have anything else going on that night and I needed to go somewhere.
Good old Witch's Woods.
I keep on giving Witch's Woods a bad rap, and I really shouldn't. The place is arguably the biggest haunt in Massachusetts.
Really?
Yep, it runs out in the Neshoba Valley ski area. They bring in carnival rides, they bring in carnival games, carnival food vendors. They put up this big, elaborate Hollywood wax museum display and a bunch of jack-o'-lanterns and 5 attractions usually. This year they only had 3 because they were getting rid of the indoor stuff. The thing that gives them the bad rap is that it feels like they've just lost their touch over the years and they just stopped caring, because it's one of these places where they know the kids are going to show up. They know they're going to be a babysitter on. Why in God's name invest in all of this new stuff?
Yeah.
They're coming. They're spending money. Jesus.
They're just going through the motions.
Yeah. But the thing is that the attractions that they have are pretty freaking good. For them, anyway. Like, they just put up the brand new attraction a couple years ago, the Vampire Passage. And, this is almost 2 decades of not having a brand new attraction.
You're right.
And they carved out the woods and made this big vampire trail with all these animatronics at the end of it, all these mausoleums and stuff like that. I mean, it's nice. The hayride has been losing its touch over the years, but it's still one of the better hayrides because it's the only hayride that I've been on that has a narrator with a microphone. A narrator that's in character.
Right.
You can't always understand exactly what they're saying all the time, but at least they try. But it's just kind of like the same repeated thing every single year. It's not that nobody stood up and said, like, do we even really need this anymore? They're like, no, we'll just stick with the same thing. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. But it's kind of refreshing to somebody like me, because usually you get on a freaking wagon, there's nothing on the wagon. There's nobody telling you what's going on. There's no story.
Right.
You just go, and that's good enough for them.
Yeah.
And most of the time it is good enough for them. Witch's Woods is the only place that has consistently done the same thing from year to year to year to year. And that goes all the way back to when Spooky World had their hayride back in Berlin. The Spooky World went under from Berlin, Massachusetts, and then the majority of it moved to Foxborough. But the people that actually did the hardcore designing of Spooky World couldn't travel that far, so they went and made Witch's Woods.
Yeah.
And Witch's Woods became like the collaboration of all of these talented minds that have been in that industry and made one of the biggest haunts in the country, and said, yeah, on our hayride that we had at Spooky World in Berlin, they had a narrator that was talking about all these scenes that were going, so this is how we're going to do it. Well, none of that crew is there anymore. They've been long gone. But the people running Witch's Woods now are like, well, that's what they do, so that's what we do too.
Oh, I didn't know that history, actually.
Kind of funny this year too with the COVID regulations on the hayride. So they actually, the only hayride too where the wagon, you sit on the edge of the wagon and you let your legs dangle over the side. Every other hayride I've been into, your legs are on the inside.
You're facing
every other hayride.
Yeah.
And I hate it too that you're facing the inside. Your legs get all cramped up and crap. Ugh.
You gotta look over your shoulder.
Right.
Now, does it, and that hayride, is it both sides? People are sitting on both sides facing out?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
For the most part, they entertain both sides equally.
Yeah.
But usually the narrator is right up at the front of the wagon, and they're just kind of saying their thing, doing their thing. But this year, since they couldn't have anybody sit on the inside of the wagon, because there was a couple people that would, they actually blocked it all off with plexiglass. So it's almost like the plexiglass hallway that goes down the middle of the wagon, and the narrator gets to like walk up and down it constantly.
That's cool.
And you still sit away from each other too.
Yeah.
But like the thing that gives the Witches Woods the bad rep is that like they have all of that, but like the stories that they come up with and the sets that they have now, they're like, okay, this place looks like it's the set that people tried to build 8 years ago, and it's been doing nothing but rotting since then. That's really what it feels like.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like I said, it's just something to do, and they're okay. Next up, the next night, we went to the Dark Woods at Trumbull Gardens. Noobs.
Yes.
You remember the Dark Crop?
Yes. Great little haunt.
You went with me once or twice, right?
Yeah, I went there twice.
Big cornfield. I want to say Hollis, New Hampshire.
Yeah, nice little haunt. Had some great pumpkin whoopie pies.
Pumpkin whoopie pies.
Nice little night out.
Well, they disappeared last year, maybe even 2 years ago. I didn't see any update. I called up the farm to ask if they knew what was going on. They couldn't tell me. I just figured the guy just packed up and left, and he was just done with it.
Right.
And then this year, I was looking on the Scare Factors directory page for New Hampshire just to see if anything popped up. Sure enough, Dark Woods pops up. And I go, what's that? Never heard about that. And I didn't see any signs posted anywhere. I don't see anything posted on Facebook anywhere about new haunts or anything like that. And I look at the font. That's the same exact font as the Dark Crop. What's going on here? Oh my God. It's Dark Crop. The guy moved his operation to this other farm.
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell was any of the information? Just gone. Just like, I don't know, we're going to go here. We're not going to tell nobody. As far as I can tell, it almost looks like they were open in 2019 too, but there's no pictures or anything, but like it just seemed like they were.
Yeah.
And I went there before the season started, and I was asking people working at Trumbull Gardens, which was a cool place. It was kind of a little produce stand. They sell baked goods there, ice cream and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, you guys know anything about this haunted thing? Yeah. Of course, these teenage girls, they don't know shit about anything, no matter where they are. God damn it. It's like, you would have seen something. People chopping stuff, people bringing stuff, weird props, anything. Well, yeah, I could get Anna. Oh, God, never mind. Jesus. So I had to put it on the schedule, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't entirely thrilled because the lack of communication that the place was still operating kind of made me feel like they don't really care. A lot of people showed up. Very, very, very dark again, very dimly lit. I was kind of offended at the first time that I saw that, but then I remembered, the place kind of has a reputation for that.
Yeah.
Until we got to the actual thing. So they operate in like a small little wood patch in the middle of a field. I don't even know what the hell they farm there. But it's inside this little island of trees that's in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
And right before we got in there, I witnessed another freak out from somebody. Have you ever seen somebody, like, their brain just snaps and their fear just takes over?
Oh, yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know how to describe it, but this is pretty much what it is. All right, now, this lady was standing with her group. Everything was fine. She was just having a good old time. No sign of, mental problem or whatever, all right? So they go in there. Nobody's screaming their heads off. There's nothing super scary. There's not even scary actors in this place. She walks into the woods, and then all of a sudden we hear... And then we see her running out. She's twitching. She's falling over herself. Just could not handle herself. And I'm like, there's no way in hell there is anything on the other side of that tree line that scared her that bad. She snapped. And every once in a while, people don't understand their own brains, and their brain just clicks off. And fear just consumes them. And it's not even from anything.
Yeah.
It just eats them. It's so weird. So weird. But she was like crying like someone just killed her parents or something like that.
She wasn't faking it, right?
No, this wasn't fake. You can tell when they're faking. And, of course, I'm waiting to go in. I'm going in the next group, and I got to see what she saw. She must have seen something, at least. Go in. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing there that would scare anybody. It's so weird. It's the psychology behind this stuff. People could have a fun time. But as far as the rest of the place, yeah. It was definitely more than Dark Crop, because Dark Crop was like a couple little shacks that were literally in the middle of a cornfield.
Right.
Like the corn path was barely even cut out for you. You were kind of pushing corn away, getting to the next spot.
Yeah.
This was in the woods, and they had like stockade fencing and pallets all nailed up to kind of give like actual scenes and stuff, but nothing that was worth remembering. Nothing.
Right.
Sorry, guys, but just actors weren't enthusiastic. There was even one porch scene that they actually built, and there was a guy on a rocker, and literally all he did was rock back and forth on the chair, just looking at you. And I'm like, this is really it. It looked like it was set up so that like he could stand up and like give some kind of monologue or something like that, but nope, he just sat there rocking. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then by the time you're done, you walk out of the freaking woods there, and then you gotta walk like a mile back to the... At least at the gardens, they stayed open so you could go inside and get some whoopie pies or some crap like that, or some ice cream.
Right.
I even told... There was like a regular girl that was ticket taker at the front of the line. Mm-hmm. She was like, where are you guys from? I came all the way up here from Pennsylvania to see you guys. Just to see if she had a reaction. And she goes, oh, cool. Yep. That's pretty much what I thought you would do. Yep. Next night, I hopped on over to the Trail of Terror in Saco, Maine. Now, this place runs out of the Aquaboggin Water Park. Just a little walk in the woods behind the water park. I don't really want to say anything bad about it. It was kind of unique, but I was getting really frustrated going through because there's a lot of spots that really need to be lit a lot better. Because I was walking just into the woods and there was freaking sticks and leaves all over the place, and I tripped over myself a couple times. And it's not like they had a rope or a light that showed where it went. There's a couple parts of the trails they do, but yeah, they need to put a little bit of more work into that one. And they said the most unique thing about the place was when we got our tickets, the lady said, make sure your shoes are tied on tight, because there's going to be a spot where it feels like you're going to be walking through mud. It's not mud, but your shoes have to be tied tight. I was, what the hell does that mean? I thought about it for a second. I thought that maybe it was that they got like the squishy floor in some of these places. Now it's like a rubber floor that's got like all this weird mush inside of it.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what she was talking about. We go through the whole place, and at the very end of it, it kind of looks almost like a pig corral that's made out of pallets.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. You can't go around it or anything like that, and they got actors that are kind of above it, like trying to corral you into it.
Yeah.
And it's dark. You don't know what's on the ground, so you're just walking. Then all of a sudden, it really feels like your foot is sinking into 1.5 feet deep of mud.
Really?
You're like, what the hell is this? What? And you're trying to walk through it, and you can't. It's like it sucks you in, and eventually you pull yourself through the whole thing. Like, what the fuck was that? It's still dark. You can't even see your legs.
Yeah.
But I pick up my leg and I like wipe it, and something. Whatever this stuff was, it actually came off insanely easy.
Well, how deep does your foot go into it?
It really was like 1.5 feet deep. It was up my leg.
Really?
Yeah. I was kind of pissed off about it the first time. I was like, what the fuck is that? Because it's not like any other part of the trail is like super unique or something like that. And none of the actors are like really trying. You know, it's just this weird place, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're gonna step in this shit. And it's not scary, it's just kind of like, what the fuck? It just pisses off people. That's why the lady has to give the disclaimer at the end of it. You're gonna be walking through something that's like mud, but it's not mud. Tie your shoe. Like, what the fuck is this? I guess it kind of gives the effect that you're walking through like pig shit or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I looked down and it's like try to rub it off of my shoe, and I'm looking at my hand, and it's like clear.
Huh.
Weird jelly that just kind of falls off mostly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Either way, I was kind of like, this doesn't need to be here. This isn't doing anything. They're good people there though, and they're, like I said, they're there for a good cause. They're raising money for community events and stuff like that. I'm not really knocking the place that much. They actually do a great job with detail and design and everything like that. It's another one of these places they didn't make for people to travel from other states to go see.
Right.
They're just trying to have a good time, and they do it fine. Mm-hmm. But with that was the end of my New England tours, and I had my couple days out in Ohio.
Oh boy.
Yeah, my original plan was that I was actually going to go down into Long Island and see Chambers of Hell, Schmidt Farm, I think. Can't remember all the names of the places that I was going to go, and also a night in New Jersey. But the end of October saw this big giant storm come up. There was kind of a couple hurricanes that hit in the Gulf, and they went into Alabama and kind of moved their way up towards the East Coast. Mm-hmm. And completely pummeled the East Coast for 3 days straight. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be making plans for Long Island and New Jersey if I know it's going to get rained out. I can't even go south of that because I'm pretty sure the whole East Coast is going to get completely flooded. So where am I going to go? Ohio was like the furthest I could go, where I thought I wasn't going to get any rain.
Yeah.
By the time I got to Ohio that day, sure enough, it was raining that night. Not as hard as most places, but it was raining.
Yeah.
I figured the only places that were open that Thursday night before Halloween was the ever-famous Haunted Hoochie and 13th Floor in Columbus, Ohio. 13th Floor is a chain of haunted houses. They have one in Columbus, originally in Austin, Denver, Jacksonville, went to the one in Chicago last year. Great detailed haunted houses.
All right, we made it. 13th floor, Columbus. A lot of weird shit happened over the past 2 days, and we had to make a random long-ass drive out here. So this is fun.
But 13th Floor in Columbus, we hit up first, and they had 2 attractions in there. One of them had something to do with like a kid's nightmare, and I thought it was kind of cool the way they designed it. It's like you walk through like a little boy's bedroom. Then there's a room that looks like you're kind of going into like a hypnotic state, and it's kind of signifies that you're going into the kid's nightmare. Mm-hmm. And then it's like this weird neon kind of clown theme, just only because it seems like it's all clown stuff if it's neon.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like all these like different 3D cutouts of stuff, and I don't know, I just thought it was very unique. And then you'd go back into like another kid's room, and then you go into their dream, and they have nightmares about spiders and octopuses and stuff like that. Then you go into another kid's nightmare, and they have a nightmare about actual clowns or something like that.
Right.
I just thought it was really unique. It just didn't quite hit me because it was overbearingly loud in there.
It's so loud in here that the security people and the metal detector people, that they're all wearing speakers. It's awesome.
Just constant boom, 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 just in your face all the time. Couldn't hear yourself think. It was that loud. There was barely anybody in there. I don't know why they did that.
Was it music, or was it like sound effects?
More like haunt music.
Yeah.
And I'm just going off of memory there. All I remember is that it was super freaking loud and very unnecessary. And then they had a second attraction there that was kind of like a weird, like cannibalistic zombie apocalypse like style. And you walked through like a town, mm-hmm. almost, and there was like flipped over cop cars, and there was actors in there that were going crazy. It really felt like it was not designed by the same people at all as the first haunt. Great detail in the first haunt, but insane detail in the second one. That's all I really remember, is that you kind of keep on walking like in and out of like this common area that's really more of a crossroads, and it has the flipped cop car and this guy who was like the single guy running all over the place every time you like moved your way back into that area, just going crazy. Like every time you saw somebody, you'd run over with a wrench and start bashing shit and screaming. He was going insane. And you would keep on walking into all these different businesses, like a diner, like a mechanic shop and stuff like that. And eventually you made your way out, but just I thought the detail in that was outstanding. Even the actors that were outside in the queue line were like, "You ever been here before?" I'm like, "No." "Oh, the second attraction that we have in there is phenomenal." And I'm like, "Okay, so the first one sucks?" It's like, I didn't say that. And then they'd run away. Not too much to say about it. I mean, I think 13th Floor makes awesome detailed attractions. I'm not super keen on the fact that there are like a conglomerate about the haunt industry, but I get it. A lot of these guys, they feel like if they're going to stick with this industry, they better make something that's actually going to make them some money so that they don't have to do anything else. And the people that run 13th Floor, they also got House of Torment, they got Nashville Nightmare, they got New Orleans Nightmare, they got a couple other haunts around. So they're putting in the work to actually make the haunted house, and they're trying their best to make the most money as it was. And while the rest of the industry is like, haunt owner just wanted to make a haunt himself, and that's his baby, you know? And I respect that too, but they're just kind of two different beasts, really.
Right.
Then right after that, we went over to Haunted Hoochie. Been to Haunted Hoochie once before. Really enjoyed it. Haunted Hoochie has a reputation of being the bad boy of the haunt industry. You don't hear a lot about it because of that, I think. But they just don't give a crap about your feelings. They don't give a crap about sensitivity. They're not politically correct. They don't care. They don't care. And there's nothing that anybody can say that's going to make them care. When I first heard that and I first saw that, I was like, ooh, that means they're a freaking crazy haunt. And you know, they are a crazy haunt, but they have this whole attitude towards them that's like just arrogant. You know, after a while, it's just like, it's not that anymore. You know, it's just kind of like they just want to be dicks.
Yeah.
All right. Now, they don't care. Like I said, I'll freaking say this all freaking night. They don't care. Yeah, they are. And they're going to continue to be dicks. It doesn't matter. Like, the thing that you see there now is that they got a big projection screen showing over the queue line. And it's got, like, music videos playing that have nothing to do with haunted attractions anymore, actually. It used to be just, like, all heavy metal. But now they're, like, playing...
Bruno Mars?
Yeah, they're playing, like, him... Is that Bruno Mars?
I don't know who it is.
No. I'm just saying, it's just like random freaking pop music every once in a while. So every once in a like randomly they threw in Rammstein. It's like, okay, this isn't matching. But in between all of the music videos, they're showing 9/11 conspiracy videos things.
What?
It's just like, you know, it's just like constant video of the planes crashing into the towers and photos of Trump, and then photos of Biden, and then photos of... And literally 10 feet away from that, they have a cage and where like a stripper is dancing.
Live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The stripper aspect used to just be there to be there, but it's like, it's 10 feet away from this footage where thousands of people died. And it's like... I'm not cool with it.
Yeah.
You know? Like I said, I'll say all that shit and they won't give a fuck, whatever.
She's not completely nude, is she?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. She's not actually stripping. She's just in... I don't even know if I should call it stripping, but exotic dancing.
Yeah.
It did rain that night, so there was a lot of mud. There was a lot of puddles all over the place. We were very cold. They are fucking terrible at getting people inside the haunt. And they're absolutely terrible at keeping people going through the haunt. Because people just stop. And just to like watch scenes, And it doesn't matter how many people are behind them. This giant fucking conga line that just won't move inside. But they don't care. They say it right on their website. Did you buy a ticket? Are you here? All right, stop fucking being a bitch about whether or not you're going to come in. You'll get in there eventually. Shut up. So, you know, that's just their attitude.
Yeah.
It really freaking sucked out a lot for me. But the biggest thing that sucked it out was that we just happened to be waiting in line with this group of disgusting people. Disgusting, gross, ugly, terrible people. I hope they're dead.
That always happens, doesn't it?
Well, we could have went to every other part of the line. In hindsight now, I should have just been like, hey, you know what? If we wait a couple more minutes, at least we won't be around these people.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know that we're going to get paired with them when we go into the haunt too. That fucking sucked. But, yeah, this girl just started freaking like... She probably must have lit up about 2 packs of cigarettes in the time that we were standing in line. And then she started, like, kissing her girlfriend. This girl must have been, like, freaking 400 pounds and about 4 feet tall. Gross-looking thing. Why she has a girlfriend, I don't know. And it's like every random time she'd be like, hey, babe, kiss me. And then they pull down their mask and start making out. Well, she's got a cigarette still in her mouth. And then she'd be done freaking slobbing spit with her. And then she'd spit all over the ground in front of everybody. Like, this is... I hate this. I hate being here. I hate this.
Oh, my God.
And they have kind of like a stage freak show performances for the people waiting in line right there. But they didn't have that this year. I don't know how long they have not had anything there. But instead what they get is a bunch of other gross girl actors that come out that are dressed up in the stupidest costumes ever. They're not even costumes. Like, one of them was wearing a sweatshirt with like a tutu and like a face mask.
Yeah.
Not even a decorated face mask, just a freaking face shield. And they have all those little neon bracelets. And she would come out like every 10 minutes, like, who wants some fucking bracelets? And then she'd start throwing bracelets all over the place. And then all these other girls would come out, do the same thing, and the little tiny bit of music that was playing, they started like sort of dancing to.
Yeah.
Not like as part of a show, just kind of like these girls are like, oh my God, we're on stage and we're dancing in front of all these people. And we're crazy. Like, that's what it felt like. It was awful. Anyways, we freaking sat through the freaking 45 minutes of waiting that we had to do to go into the place. Haunted Hoochie is one of the most insane, detailed places I've ever been to. They have more animatronics than I've ever seen, and every single one of them is working better than I've ever seen, and they're on top of each other like crazy. They barely even need actors in this place. It's almost as if like they had a super electrician come in, rig everything exactly the way that it's supposed to be, and he left. He made sure that the guys, all they had to do was flip on a switch at the beginning of the night, and they never had to worry about a thing, because it is insane how many animatronics are in there just on top. You know, usually these things are freaking expensive as hell, you know?
Yeah. So
like an animatronic will have its own scene. No, about 20 animatronics share that scene. They're all freaking moving all over the place like crazy. And wow. It definitely the place that I could go to. I don't need the actors. The actors in the place are a whole different animal. They're there to do different kinds of shit. Usually they're bumping into you, they're running up, they're doing like decapitation scenes. There's a scene in there where a girl's like cutting off a guy's dick. You know, it's a dildo, and she's like running around like licking the dick and like putting it back on for her next group, cutting it off, and it's like shit like that. There's another scene where a guy's like freaking fucking a chicken, and the chicken's animated, and there's other chickens in the cages and they're animated. And it's just it really feels like it's like there's two different mindsets in that place, and they're not really merging.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like, all right, you go through the animatronic part here, it's awesome. All right, now you go through the gross people part. You know, when it just feels like it's made for people that want to do that, that's when it kind of stopped. You know.
Yeah.
It feels like there was people that was like, I want to work in a haunted house. Haunted houses are fun. It's like, okay, all right, let me show you what you do. And then it's like, I want to be the guy that fucks the chicken. And the majority of the actors there are not in costume.
Really?
They weren't. They were in sweatshirts and sweatpants, and they kind of popped out in random places. Tons of places made for them to pop out and be super freaking freaky about it. Tons of them.
That was the costume thing because of COVID, or is that how it always is?
I honestly don't know. It feels like the attitude there is he doesn't give a shit if you're in costume or not.
Yeah.
But that's a big long haunt in there, and then when you finally get out, he has another haunt called Bad Trip. So it is a 3D haunt. I never wear 3D glasses anymore anyway. Quite possibly the best 3D haunt I've ever been in, though. There's just so many things in there. Just, again, props on props on props on props. And they're all painted in different neon paint, and it's just... It really does kind of feel like you're having, like, a super bad trip. It's just so many weird... The giant centipedes on walls, and then just freaking, like, weird ducks. You name it, it's probably in there. Just weird shit, all painted in neon paint.
Yeah.
But I was so freaking sick to death of that freaking bitch that we had to go in with the first place, because they're freaking... I don't know. Even when we got to the point where we could actually see the stripper dancer, she's spitting still, slobbing spit with the other person, taking a cigarette, and then she takes a look at the stripper. Ah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Shake that ass, bitch. Hey, baby, come here. Oh my God. Lord, kill this thing. There's no way it has a job.
Oh, wait, going back to the 3D thing, why don't you wear the glasses?
The only color that pops out is red, and so what? The colors pop out. But the thing about the glasses, it makes everything blurry as fuck.
Yeah.
So you can't see the awesome details that are in there. And so that's why I just said, no, I'm never going to fucking wear these things again.
Yeah.
Whatever. It pops out a little bit. Every once in a while, there's a place that does it the right way. I don't really know what the right way is, but like it actually feels like something's right there in front of you. It feels like you might fall through a floor, but 99.99% of these places is just neon crap.
Right.
Next night, we went over to Haunted Hydro in Fremont, Ohio. This is a place that I've been needing to go to for a long time. It's been one of those places in like the magazines that like I really thought was one of the big juggernaut haunts of the country. People know about it. People talk about it. It's run out of a old hydroelectric plant that's right along the river. 3-foot wide concrete walls. Just super cool looking place, but he puts these colored lights on it and kind of makes it look like a weird circus. Run by Crazy Bob. If everybody knows him, he's the kind of the owner, the spokesperson of the place. In their 31st year of operation, I don't know, it's just one of these places I've always wanted to go check out. But this year, he had 2 attractions going on. The whole theme in general was called The Cursed or The Cure. There's one called The Cursed Woods. It was kind of a walk through the woods. And then the haunt inside the hydro. The Cure Family's Bizarre Bazaar. It was kind of like a weird collection of like just weird people. Like in a museum or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what the theme was. But just kind of keep on walking and there's like different people just doing shit all the time.
Yeah.
The walk through the woods was the first one. I guess in general I wasn't crazy impressed by the place. It's definitely good. It's probably something I would never travel that far to go to again, though.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times I couldn't understand what a lot of the actors were saying, except if it was really obvious stuff. It's kind of like a good thing at the same time, because I know they were saying something that was unique, and at least they were actually vocalizing themselves and to make lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't pick up anything that they were actually trying to say. The majority of the theme was just kind of like just stuff everywhere. It starts with like a weird chain link fence, and it kind of went through like a small little haunted bakery and just pallets hanging up all over the place, old props all over the ground. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of a big mismatch.
Right.
And one of the things that really pissed me off was one of the first actors that we bumped into was in that little weird bakery shop. Now you walk into this little shed and they got all these little treats and they look like they're cannibalistic, like baked goods. And then a guy stands up and he's got like this bad paper mache mask on.
Maybe in? Okay, you're done. You fail. You're fine.
You like my smile?
Huh?
You like my smile?
No.
Do. Can I cut you one just like mine? No.
Nice treats, though. I like them.
You like my goodies?
I do. Nice little bake shop.
I appreciate that he's trying to do something that he didn't just stand up and go "Rawr," like that. But what's going on here? We got all of these little baked goods. Somebody put in some real time and effort to make this place a thing. But this, like, counter service character over here goes, like my smile? I'm like, oh my God. And that kind of set the mood for, like, the whole night of what dialogue was going to be like. Just stuff that didn't make sense and didn't belong there.
Yeah.
But it was still really good. It just had its own, like, weird feel to it that I wasn't really anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
We loved this kid. Oh my God. There was this little tiny kid in there, like a camp out scene. And he came out of nowhere and he goes,
Hi, I'm this many. So you know what that means? It's my birthday!
It was a kid, younger kid?
it was a kid.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
little kid. It was great because usually you see those kids and they're popping out going, or they got some kind of like weird bad line. This kid was flat out improv, right? And just saying crazy stuff like that. I was like, this is awesome.
Nice.
So we really enjoyed that. It was funny too because when we were done with the trail, there was a lady that was kind of guiding people into the house part, or the hydro part.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at us, she's like, so what was your favorite part so far? And I go, the kid talking about his birthday. And she goes, oh, yeah. I hate when people ask me that question. Do you even care? You make me feel like I shouldn't have answered. Do you know what part of the trail that is? Do you know what's going on here? And so inside the haunt, like I don't know what exactly it was. It felt like it was just a big mishmash of weird theme in there. I guess it kind of was like somebody's weird collection of just weird random people and putting them in weird sets that they belong in. And that's what you kind of walk through. That's really what it felt like. But again, a lot of the actors in there were trying to make up their own stuff, trying to come up with their own dialogue, which I deeply appreciate. It's just I couldn't really make sense of most of it.
Right.
Like one of the first girls we bump into, there's a sound effect playing on the back. It was this guy talking about like taking a cruise to Aruba. It wasn't an actor. It was almost like a weird like infomercial. And this girl is like interacting with it. The guy was like, you need to take a trip to Aruba. And this girl is like, I don't want to go to Aruba. I don't want to go. I want to go to Bora Bora. Okay, so you're being kind of unique. It's just, how is it scary? You know what I mean? Like, what is threatening about this? I just feel like you're just screaming.
Yeah.
One girl just started talking about, like, drinking blackberry tea, like, out of nowhere, while at the same time, like, the room that we were just coming out of was a doctor talking about getting specifically fingers and toes, and he just kept on screaming about it. There was a guy, like, that was, like, a stripper at a bar. Like, it was like a transsexual kind of character.
Yeah.
Which we thought was funny to see and everything. It's just, like, again, it's just kind of like... This is all just, like, weird, you know? And I don't feel like it's, like, weird in the effect that it's trying to make me feel weird. It just is.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the kind of weird that, like, people would gossip about at high school. But still pretty good detail in there. It was awesome seeing, like, if you look up, you know, past the sets and everything, you see the concrete walls, really old. I can't really even call it a building. It's a place that used to house like all of this engineering equipment and stuff. They had a vortex tunnel that was a little bit bigger than most vortex tunnels. Instead of having like a constant pattern painted on it, it just had a whole bunch of paint splashes. And for some reason that worked a lot better Like even Sam that went with me, she goes through just as many as I do.
Yeah.
At least 20 a season. And even she was having trouble getting through it. It felt like the place wasn't trying to aim for scary. It was trying to aim for like crazy.
Right.
And I think it hit it. I wasn't anticipating.
Not in the best of ways.
The people love it though. People go there all the time, and the place is detailed. The place is very historic too. But it wasn't exactly the kind of theme that I was anticipating it would be, I guess.
Right.
Which I guess is a good thing, really. You know, have little unique places that do their own thing.
Yeah.
Next up, oh God, probably the highlight of the year. So we went to the Mansfield, Ohio State Reformatory. Now, this place is the prison where they shot Shawshank Redemption in.
Wow.
It's a historic site. It used to be a real prison, obviously. Very creepy on the inside. We took a day tour before we went there just to kind of see the beauty of it on the inside, because usually you go into these historic haunts and they don't have it lit up in a way that really makes you appreciate, you know, the real natural beauty of it.
Right.
And it's wow, it's wild. All the jail cells are all like in the middle of the corridor. They're not put up against the windows.
Mm-hmm.
So and it must have been like 6 floors tall of just jail cells that went for a good like 500 feet. Maybe not that long, but long. Old stone building too, all this old concrete and cobblestone and stepping stone, fieldstone kind of stuff for floors. Just old place. All the paint is rotting off of the ceilings and rotting off of the bars and stuff. Mm-hmm. And really creepy place. It was funny when me and Sam went in there. You first kind of start like in the administrative part, and you walk up and you see all the rooms where they did all the official stuff and everything, and then you walk into the chapel, which is a big giant chapel at the top of the building. Mm-hmm. And there's this little tiny iron door like off to the side, and it says tour continues here. All right, so we get walking. We walk through this thing, and there might be like a 5-foot catwalk that goes into the top level of cells in one of the wings.
Yeah.
I walk on it, and then I look over the side through the bars, and I see that like I feel like I'm a good 50 feet up in the air.
Yeah.
Over all this stuff and this creepy atmosphere. It freaked me out a little bit, but I mean that catwalk's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's been holding up there for over 100 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I look back and Sam can't do it. This is freaking cool. Alright, let's go. Come on, we gotta go.
I can't do it.
Come on.
I know. I'm
Sam,
sorry,
look.
I can't do it.
Can you imagine how many people do this every day? And for this long. I mean, this place is like 100 years old. Let's go. She's freaking out. Her fear of heights gets a little worse every year, but this was bad. Like she just, I can't do it. And I probably must have spent about 30 minutes trying to convince her different ways of being able to cross just this 5-foot gap. There's no way she was going to fall or anything like that. There was all these bars up on the side and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
But then even after she would get through that gap, she would still have to go down these stairs and then walk on grates where you can look right through and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it probably wouldn't have been a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually one of the kind of tour guides came along and suggested that he can walk her on the outside of the building and take her around to the bottom floor where I would meet her eventually. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, okay, but now I look like the dickhead boyfriend that said like, all right, you go fuck off and I'll freaking continue my tour. They're like, no, the people do this all the time, because like you really miss out on a lot of stuff if you don't do that part.
Yeah.
So I go through, and it's pretty freaking cool. The place is super freaking old. Everything's deteriorating, but not enough to the point where everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
It's just creepy. We continue it, and then we come back later at night to go check out Blood Prison, is what they call their haunt that they do there.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that made this place even creepier is that we knew, what we were going back into. But I couldn't promise Sam that they weren't going to go up on that catwalk again or even up into the jail cells. I have no idea where they go.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, but when we're up there and we need to go. There is no turning back. There is no stopping people. That's the thing. You get trapped there.
Yeah.
It's like, are you sure you can handle this? And she's like, I'll try. Like, oh, this is not going to be good. So, beautiful building that you're driving right into. Oh my God, just crazy old historic castle kind of looking. And there's a big long line that's going right into the front of it. Now, we got these speed pass tickets and I didn't know where exactly they went. So I asked somebody and said, oh yeah, you just go around the side there. We were the only people, I think, of the night that got speed pass tickets because there was nobody there. And it looked super creepy because there was one little tiny light bulb and like these stairs and like the side secret entrance that kind of felt like.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, this is weird. and they pair us up with like a group of 17 people. And this was the weirdest thing here. And to go back to Haunted Hydro for a second. In order to get into the Hydro, you first had to purchase tickets online, and then when you show up, you have to click on a link where you fill out a form to let people know that you are on the property, and they will call you to let you know when you could come in.
Yeah.
When you do come in, there is not just some person with a thermometer reader. It's like a freaking state trooper that's got a gun and a taser and all this shit on him, and he's the one that's taking down your temperature. Why the hell they had that guy there to do that crap, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
The link that goes to where you sign in to let people know that you're there wasn't working, so you still had to walk up. You're irritating the state trooper guy, and you had to go and manually freaking tell them that you are there and you're waiting to be called in. You tell them your number. You hope they write down your number right. And it's like, that's what I really had to go through to get into this place. Because that was really like the way that we thought every place was going to be like, right?
Yeah.
This is the only place that I went to that did it like that. But it's funny because it's in Ohio, and then a couple towns away, Ohio State Reformatory.
Yeah.
And I call up them, so how exactly does the COVID thing work? Oh, we don't really do much with that. You just wear your mask. Huh? What do you mean? You must have like limited tickets. No, we don't have a limit of tickets or anything like that. Huh? Couple towns away.
Yeah.
And this is a place that's under the Ohio State Historic Society. It's part of the government of the state.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, whatever. No, we don't. No, it's not about that. No. What? It just blew my mind. I couldn't understand it. So, anyways, yeah, and then they had the group of 17 people all huddled up next to each other. It's like, wow.
That's kind of crazy.
But first part of the haunt, I was blown away by the detail. The detail kind of reminded me of like typical haunted house, but like a little bit better. And I really didn't know if it was like created detail or detail that was part of the natural beauty of the place. Because the theme was haunted house, not haunted old jail.
Yeah, but it's called Blood Prison though.
Yeah, it's about a prison. I don't know what exactly that part was. I couldn't really find anything online to clarify what that crap was all about, but whatever. And eventually you do get out of there. I was just blown away by the detail, like crazy detail, some of the best I've ever seen. And then you get into the prison, and that's when things got super creepy. Because most of the lights are off. They got these little tiny pin lights that kind of illuminate like this evilness from this decrepit jail. It's like you don't really go into the part of the prisons where you look up and you see all the jail cells and stuff like that. I don't know if they don't usually do that or they like took people away from it this year because of COVID for some reason or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're constantly worried about, okay, is this place going to make us look at heights?
Right.
Or have to deal with heights. So we're constantly worried about that. But one of the first jail parts that they show us was the solitary confinement chambers. Super creepy down there, and we were surrounded by people.
Yeah,
but it was dark, and they were just pumping in this ambience, like weird noise that just felt that like evil spirits were around you.
Huh.
And there was probably real people. They were all in the dark just making weird sounds.
Yeah.
But it's super creepy about it. I honestly can't remember too much about it except going into like the basement part of it, which was even creepier. It's not even part of the regular tour. Yeah, there was just a presence there that I can't explain. They say it's one of the most haunted places in America.
Wow.
You could really feel it. I'm trying to imagine like how bad it would be if you walked through there on your own.
Yeah.
You know, not with a group of 17 people.
Right.
So, I don't know. But, you know, the only other real prison that I've been to that actually does a haunt is Terror Behind the Walls at the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia. Now, the detail in that place, the natural beauty of that place is really creepy too, but they kind of take away from it because they fill up the place with fog and lights and everything like that. This is like they really want you to feel what the place is like.
Right.
The creepiness factor blew Terror Behind the Walls out of the water. It just, like, I'd think twice about going back. That was kind of spooky.
Wow.
Like, I'd have to tell people, like, I'd prefer actually being with a big group of people. Just like,
Nice.
Weird. And then the next night, for Halloween night, 2 years in a row, I was over in the Pittsburgh area. Went to the Crawford School of Terror in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. Old abandoned school building. I don't think it has any actual paranormalness to it, but Tune it. But went in and bought our tickets at a little shack that was on the side, and we kind of waited for them to text us to let us know when we could approach the front of the building. Beautiful building. For some reason they have advertisements for like a nail salon on the windows. I don't know. That kind of brought me out of it though. Starts on the first floor with like a little 3D thing that they just added. That was okay. There's a couple of unique things there. But the real attraction starts in the upstairs. Everything was very school themed, and I really appreciated that. You had a lot of classrooms, principal's office, cafeteria, gym.
Yeah.
The whole story revolves around this girl, Margaret, who was a student, and she fell in love with one of the teachers. But he was in love with one of the other teachers, and she got jealous pretty much and killed that teacher. Nobody could ever find her. Nobody knew what happened with her, and handsome teacher killed himself. So there is a scene where the Margaret's room is a big thing. You walk in and there's like this archways of student desks that you walk under, and books and all kinds of weird things. And Margaret's like up in the corner, just hanging out there until you get close enough. And then the lights all flash on her and she kind of starts freaking out, like trying to get at you. So it was pretty detailed. I would definitely go there again, actually.
Yeah.
And all the actors were really good. They all actually had a character. Very impressed, actually. Really impressed. Second attraction, you actually walk outside, you walk around the building, and you go to the basement, which was weirder because they did such a good job at sticking with the theme of the school up in the first attraction.
Yeah. And
I get mixing up themes just to kind of mix it up a little bit, but like you're supposed to be in the witch swamp. The guy that introduces you to the place is like, if you see the witch, ask for her blessing, and that's the only way that you can get out, or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Now I'm thinking that like that means there's a witch at the end of the attraction, right? Like this whole thing is supposed to be based around that. And the first person we see is the witch. I'm like, are you the witch? And she's not answering, not doing anything. And I'm like, I just keep on walking. Like, I don't know what to do here. Why do you tell me to do shit? I don't know. But great character, awesome costume, awesome makeup. Can't remember the dialogue. She definitely had something. We really liked there was a cemetery, and they had this little spot where a girl kind of crawled out and then crawled to one of the gravestones, and she was like digging at it, and she was supposed to say like, "My husband's here," or something like that. Just creepy, you know? She's not one of these pop-out scare characters, just one of those creepy characters.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. And a couple minutes south from there, the Haunted Hills Estate, another place that I've been meaning to go to for a long time. It's been in all the magazines. It's won all the awards. It's one of the big places. Usually has 6 attractions. They have the house, the Experiment 31, the Burial, Quarantine, Dead Woods, and Sin Creek. And this year, we unfortunately came at a time when they closed off the last 4 attractions. These were all of the outdoor attractions. Like, God, 4 of them? It rained pretty hard the night before, and it was just still a little too wet for them to really open up the attractions in the trails. But I was like, that's 4 attractions that I'm missing out on, for crying out loud, you know?
Yeah.
And I think they still charged full price. And I didn't really even know what exactly. I kind of got there. I was like, you guys only have 2 attractions? They're like, yeah, that's all we got. Again, the communication. It's like, are you guys going to tell me what exactly is, like, am I actually missing out? Or what? And this is all they give me. No, it's just the 2. That's all you get. Great looking place though, you know, big banner across one of the steel containers. Kind of weird though, because with all this demand of getting online tickets, it's kind of like, I thought the whole purpose of getting online tickets was so that you stay away from people in a waiting line. We get there, line for online tickets that you already have is the only line. There's 2 other booths where you could purchase it with either a card or credit or cash. Yeah. Right? Nobody in those lines because everybody already bought their freaking tickets. And they're taking slow as shit time to like process them. And I'm like, all the other places where I got online tickets, I just show them my phone. They scan it. Good. I'm good to go. And they're like, yeah, but you still need to get your regular tickets. Like, okay, then you hand out a regular ticket when you scan the phone. What are you talking about? You need the regular ticket so that they can hole punch which attraction that you went to. It's one of those things. Right. Even though there's only 2 of them that were operating. Oh my God. And then there was people that came in that purchased their tickets online, but they printed out their tickets. And the printout ticket doesn't look anything like the ticket that they get, but they were able to walk right in. So I'm like, so what are you doing for those guys? What the fuck? Piss me right the fuck off. God. Anyways, place was cool looking. They had a big food vendor that actually made like real food. They had an axe throwing ring in there. Whole bunch of props all over the place that you could take pictures with and stuff. Bunch of actors walking around. But like I said, they only had the house and Experiment 31, so I'll go through those. So the house is by far their star attraction. So it's like a big barn, kind of disguised as a regular haunted house on the outside. Awesome facade. You walk in, everything is real. It was real barnwood like floors, so you can actually see light coming out from the bottom of them, because they got a little bit of gap in between them. Yeah. And super detailed, wicked gory, body parts and blood all over the place. We really liked that there was a fireplace that you actually had to crawl into to get to the next section. Not a uncommon thing at all, but what they did differently was they had a hallway of like glowing embers on the walls that like you kind of had to crawl down for a little bit, so it really kind of felt like you were walking into something that might be producing heat. Right. So that was really cool. And you walk out of the barn, and there's kind of like this weird catwalk that goes over a haunted yard display. But you're seeing the groups that went before you getting scared by actors in the yard, which was kind of weird to me, because it's like, well, why are you showing me the actors that are going to pop out at me when I go down there? Yeah. Right? It's almost like maybe there was a time when they did it the other way around. Right. But it was still pretty good, though. There was a weird bird creature there hiding behind stones and popping out. There was one animatronic, but the sound effects for him were on the other side of the trail, so I was like, I didn't know what to look at. And then there was this car, and this kid jumped up on the car and just stared at us, and he went, oh wait, I forgot my chainsaw.
Oh my god.
But really, really detailed in there. I love the authenticity of the barn, too, and the real stuff that was going on with it. And then there was Experiment 31, which was kind of like a weird theme about all these test subjects slowly getting transformed or morphing into, like, animals or some stuff. So
yeah,
the further and further you go into the haunt, the more crazy and elaborate the creatures get.
Right.
But there was a lot of gaps in there. There was a lot of, like, dark tarp hallways. They weren't really full of any actors or anything like that. It kind of bugged me. Mm-hmm. And especially due to the fact that they put it on Facebook that, I'm sorry, we're closing out the other 4 outdoor attractions tonight. But that's okay. You come to the other 2, they're going to be loaded with actors. No, they were not. I didn't want them to be, so that's a good thing, but it's like, there's no freaking way. All of the actors that are usually here are here.
Yeah.
There's no way. Unless you only have 2 actors in the rest of the freaking haunt. But whatever. Just people came in. It's a great place. I would definitely go back. I would like to see what exactly they have for those other attractions.
Right.
And to see, the detail in the house again. And then a couple minutes south from there was Rich's Fright Farm. This was the last haunt of the season. Been meaning to check this place out for a long time, too. I was kind of warned a while ago that it's really become one of these, I don't want to say babysitter haunts. I almost want to say drunken party haunts. The majority of the clientele they get are kids from the local university.
Right. That
just come plastered off of their ass. They're getting kicked out, and they're not respecting anything. They're touching stuff, grabbing stuff. So I was a little hesitant, but the place has a good reputation, so I had to go check it out. Rich's Fright Farm. The funniest thing about the whole place was that I was traveling from north to south right before the Mason-Dixon line, and you can hear the accent change. It is creepy. Like typical relaxed northern talk, and then all of a sudden like, come down Rich Fright Farm. We got all kind of crazy spooky critters for you. Like, oh my god. I only traveled for 20 minutes. Where the hell am I? So Rich's Fright Farm. Rich's Farm is like a landscaping service that has like a garden center, and they do like hardscape stuff. They got a market. They do all kinds of cool stuff. They're a big place. It's a big gift shop there. They got a big kid area, a big farmer's market thing they must do. Their big pride and joy is this haunt that they make, Fright Farm. Starts off with a hayride. It kind of goes around the area a little bit and then ends up at this big mansion. I was looking for this mansion because in most of the pictures that I see of this place, there's this big house that almost looks like a wine vista. And I'm like, is that part of it? Or is this place originally a wine, like, grove or something like that? Whatever. And I don't know what it was. Come to find out, that house is only there because of the haunt. They built that house to be a haunted house. Like, wow, really? Huh. And I was excited to go in to see, like, oh my god, I've never seen anybody actually make the house like this. I've seen people make warehouses, right, and kind of like dress up a side of it or something like that. But this is like a legit house that they made. But I walked up and I'm like, so when do we go in? Oh, it's just for decoration.
What?
The hell are you talking about? It's just for decoration. Like, again, more of this stupid communication. What are you talking about? It's just decoration. Yeah, we can't let people go in this year because of COVID. What? What? What are you talking about? Now, first off, the hayride was weird. It was a wagon that had like benches that faced the front of the wagon, and there was like 10 of them. There's nobody in there that was trying to say stay away from people. No, it was get up on the wagon and bunch in all onto these benches. You're right next to people. You are not distant at all, even though they tell you keep your masks on. They were really adamant about that. And then you get to this freaking house, and then everybody gets off. Yeah, we just can't have that many people crowded up inside the house. You just freaking had 50 people on a wagon, all sitting on top of each other. What are you talking about? They tried to explain it to me. I was like, yeah, it's just kind of, it's not really what... No, you can't explain it. You're dumb. You're dumb. All of you people are dumb. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I just came from 2 other freaking haunts that are within 30 minutes of this place. You're going inside... They got people going inside. There's other haunts in the area that I know that are open. That's all you do is go inside.
Oh, now are they that stupid, or do you think they closed it for some other reason?
Oh, there might have been some other reason. I don't know. But, if there is another reason that they can't say, then make up a better reason. Another fake reason,
Yeah.
Not, it's just too risky. The freaking wagon was way more risky because we're on a wagon for like 30 minutes, like sitting just next to people, breathing all over each other, looking back and forth. You gotta be kidding me. You can't freaking let people go into this thing that you built for this place specific. God. But that being said, they did a haunt that was kind of like walked around the building. And that was where I was getting even more confused because it was like a real stone walkways that were around this building. It's like they must do some kind of like garden thing here in the regular season.
Yeah.
The planting season or something, because there's no way they would put in all of this hardscape work just for the haunt. Pretty detailed though, not much to say. Plenty of fog, plenty of different lights, a lot of sound effects, a lot of good props that they made. Kept on walking. One freaking drunk guy. I knew I was going to bump into at least one drunk guy. And he just kept on like trying to touch people, trying to grab things. One of those big demon puppet characters came out of nowhere, and this guy just like grabbed it and started dancing with it. His girlfriend's, come on, let him go. We gotta go. You're being an asshole. So we couldn't move as fast as we wanted to. We're finally done with this walk around the house, and we're making our way into the terror maze. So full of terror. The word maze just makes me cringe now. The thing about it was that it was just a black plywood maze.
Yeah.
Nothing special about it at all. But at least they did kind of throw in this weird, like, what do I want to say? Like this old, nostalgic, like, Atari video game feel. Because they had, like, this player 1, enter here, like, get a power-up, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not that you played with it, but, it's just kind of like they were playing that old music, like that old 8-bit music or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was something, but whatever. I needed to get through that maze as quickly as possible. I got through it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because I can kind of smell my way through those stupid things now. So, and then we were back at the Midway. Great Midway. Awesome Midway. You got a freaking DJ, you got a dance stage, you got photo ops, you got 3 different places to get food. It's one of the places we had to try. They had deep fried Nutter Butters.
Ooh.
Which was like, hello.
Sounds delicious.
Got some fried Oreos too, because why the hell not? It was Halloween.
Right.
And inside, they actually had even more stuff to eat, and they had these giant slices of pizza. I don't know why they were that big. It must have been at least, I don't know, probably the size of my forearm.
Wow.
Why? Whatever. It's Halloween. Let's get it. So dumb. Yeah, they had like a cornhole tournament. I guess there's this whole other thing on the other side of the property called like a tent city or tent place or whatever. They got all these cabanas pretty much all set up, and you can rent them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Bring all your friends down. You can get the food people there to cater you, or you can bring your own food, bring your own drinks. You can just have a good time and go through the haunt if you want to, go back and watch the game if you brought it or something like that. So
yeah,
kind of a fun idea. Just another way to make a bit of money. Crazy big gift store. Had everything, every color of shirt, every style of shirt with their logo, Fright Farm, on it. It's just all over the place. And beanies, and sweatshirts, pants. gloves, everything.
Huh.
I couldn't believe how much stuff they had. There was almost like a clothing store, for crying out loud. The only thing I didn't like about it was that was the only thing that they had, just their Fright Farm logo.
Yeah.
The other places I go to, there's like 8 different styles of shirts from the place. And yeah, we just ate our stuff and then went back to the hotel and got a good night's sleep. Because that was 3 haunts on one night, and I haven't done that in a long time.
Nice.
All in all, I think I had a pretty good season. You know, it was a great season for me to see all of this stuff I probably would have never seen.
Right.
Never seen. And I'm really glad that I did. I really hope that I take more opportunities to go to places I haven't been to before in the New England area. Just so I can say that some of them are good, some of them are going to be bad. That's just the way it is.
Right. That's how this world works, brother.
That's how this world works, brother. I know I've been talking forever, sorry. But that might have been the first time I actually mentioned every single haunt I went to over the seasons.
Yeah. All right. What a great, unique haunt season. But let's bring it to our final segment. We're going to talk about the customers in the haunt industry. You know, Woosh always has his opinions about those people that he encounters in the lines and everything like that. So, sending it over to you, Woosh.
How dare you, sir? You make that sound like I'm the only one. Come on.
No, you're not. It always seems like, even with me, like in movie theaters and stuff like that, you're always like next to the worst people. God damn it, and it ruins the experience. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, but why don't you tell us what's on your mind?
No, not so much like the regular annoying people that you just happen to be paired up against for the night. I'm talking like the actual bad customers. So on a podcast I recently listened to, they were talking about Karens, and the Chads, I guess, is the male version of
Chads?
what Karens is. I guess so.
I don't like that one.
I don't really like it either. Yeah,
the Karens is fine, but we gotta.
You know what it is? It's like you get these people that go to these places, right? And they either just like want to start fights because they think it's the place to do that.
Yeah.
And then you got other people that just want to argue. Like, they know the place they're going into. They know what they're going to go through. But it's like, that's their excuse for why they need to argue with somebody.
Yeah.
Like a Karen. I'm going to go to this place. I know exactly what I'm paying for. I know exactly what they're going to do. But when they do it, I'm going to fucking scream at them and tell them that they're not supposed to do that. And they're breaking the law. And I'm going to call the cops.
Yeah.
And I've heard plenty of stories about what people have done. Just like all these other people that just go in there and it's like they're told not to go into places and they go into those places. There's people that broke into places and then started having sex with each other there in the middle of a haunted house.
Wait, this year?
Well, not specifically this year, but any year,
okay.
Really. They like that excitement of doing that, and it's also the excitement of, like, pissing somebody off for doing it.
Yeah.
Girls that walk through and they see the guys and the creepy makeup and stuff, and they're going like, you're cute. Let me go out sometime. Shit like that. Just like the freaking annoying assholes, and it's like they're just ruining it, but it's like, are they... It's more of this psychological question, I guess. Who's really in the right here? Because what are these places? You know, they get owners and other haunters get this attitude that like they're making art, and you paid to go in there to be scared. And if you're not getting scared, then that's your fault.
Right.
You know, because you're doing stuff to make you not scared. Well, it's like, can you really blame them for trying to not be scared? But you can blame them for, like, freaking purchasing a ticket to go and, like, prove that they're not going to be scared or something like that. You know, they gotta act like dickheads doing it.
Right.
Right. But like, that attitude has always irked me a little bit. It's like, no, you're selling tickets to whoever.
Right.
They're not all going to be this respectable, like, wow, you guys did a great job. I really liked your show. It's not a play, you know?
Right.
So like, where does that attitude come from? And then if they take it even further step, when people aren't treating it like that, and they're just calling those people like scumbags and assholes and acting like they're the worst people on the planet. Mm-hmm. How dare you? Don't you know what we are? We're haunters. Like, I can't really wrap it all up into there. It's like how do you label fun? All these kids go into these places, and owners and haunters that say, like, yeah, we want you guys to have fun.
Right.
Okay, but you're flat out telling the kid what kind of fun they're allowed to have, and you don't know if that is fun to that person.
Right.
So what's that about?
So what are you talking about? The way the haunts are kind of looking at these people? Is that what you're trying to say?
Not all of them. I don't know. Some of these places, I don't know why that weird thing is still buzzing in the back of their head. I'm gonna make people piss their pants. I'm gonna make people scared so bad they're gonna shit all over everything. Like, no, you're not. Shut up. You know, I guess it's fun to have that passion there, but the reality is, calm the hell down. Now, yes, of course there's going to be freaking scumbag customers out there that are just out there to freaking get in your face and everything like that. I guess you just have to learn how to deal with them in your own way. Mm-hmm. You know, you gotta put out warning signs, you gotta put out disclaimers, you gotta actually help hold up your end of your threat about, you know, like, if you're acting like this, we're gonna kick you out. Okay, well, you actually have to do that. If you see drunk people in these places all the time, I see asshole kids in these places all the time. Who's doing what about it? Nobody.
Yeah, it's also hard, too, to always find those people, especially inside the haunt, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, you talk to these owners and they say they can pinpoint them. Within talking to them at the freaking ticket booths, you know, within a couple seconds, they know exactly what kind of people they're going to be. And a lot of people are that transparent. I mean, it's really not that hard. It's just kind of because haunters and haunt owners keep on talking about how bad some people are, and they keep on like coming to the conclusion of really just shaking their heads at the whole situation. But at the same time, it's like haunters are not that innocent either. Mm-hmm. Most of them are, I guess I should say, but because you get these people that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go work at a haunted house because I'm the tough guy, or I like horror and I like shit like that, and people ain't gonna fucking stand up to me and make me do shit, whatever. The attitude is coming from both parts there, right? Uh-huh. And I can go to these other haunts that I went to this year, like all these home haunts and everything. Like, everything is respectable. There's nobody being a dick, at least when I went anyway. Yeah. You know, it just seems like you're not going to bump into that shit. But then you got these haunts that are like the babysitter haunts, and it's almost like, this is how we're going to act here. On both sides, you know, a group of teenage kids, like, this is what we got to do. And like I said before, I've mentioned it before, like, it almost feels like the stupid switch just clicks on when kids go to these places. Yeah. And it's like, that's the place where you can scream, you can let loose. It's like a therapy session almost for them. It's like, they're going to scream, they're going to yell, nobody's listening to each other, but they're just going crazy. It is what it is. So, is there room for having people appreciate your artwork in that? Uh-huh. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's like, your whole operation has to be on board with that too. Mm-hmm. You know, they got all these builders and everything. They love building, they love making artwork and everything, and they want people to appreciate that. But then you bring on a whole freaking new crew, you know, when the season comes around. They don't give a shit about that crap. Right. They're out there banging stuff and slamming stuff up against the walls and ripping it all apart. And I understand that it's difficult for a lot of owners because that's not really what they signed up to do. Mm-hmm. They have people, you know, they want to build it, they want to make it creepy, they want to make a haunted attraction because they know the overall picture of what it is, and they're hoping to achieve that. And then all of a sudden they have to become managers and tell people what they got to do, where to be, you know, how to act and everything like that. That's not what they were trying to be, right? You know, so I get that. It's very, very tough. I don't know. Do you have any stories from bad customers when you were working?
Nothing crazy. But yeah, you have the kids that are running around that, are trying, like you mentioned, they're not trying to be scared. And that doesn't bother me that much, really. I don't know why.
Oh, if it's just kids just kind of being goofy or anything like that. But then it's like the kids, I'm talking about like the kids that want to go around and like disrespect things and break stuff.
Yeah.
And
that sucks. Yeah.
You might not have bumped into that. And it's not just even just kids. It's like I said, the Karens or like the fucking assholes that show up to like with their girls to act like they're big fucking tough guy and everything. It's almost like they're looking for the person to punch to show it. You stupid shit like that.
Yeah, once in a while, but never anything that was like got really crazy. Just real quick, that I can think of.
Okay. No, you got lucky then. That's fine. A lot of people in the country say that there's a lot of it. I can definitely see. I mean, we're lucky. New England doesn't really have too much of that. Out in the Midwest and Texas, and drunk people are drunk people all over the fucking place. But the attitudes are definitely different in other parts of the country. I guess that's where the conversation is that like there's something about these places that attracts people that feel they need to like let off steam in a certain way, and then they encourage it, or I don't know what it is. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I mean most of the places I worked have been Six Flags. I worked at one other small little place that was kind of like a charity thing, but I've always been at Six Flags, and that's like a theme park. It's a nationwide corporate company, so I feel like that might have been why I didn't run into that. But then you have these like little community places, and they know it's not going to be as strict maybe as like a Six Flags, where you might have more repercussions if you do something at a spot like that versus just this little independently owned haunt.
I don't feel like I'm going to get to a conclusion of this stuff. It's just kind of weird. It's just something to think about for everybody listening. You see that these kinds of places attract people that might not even be like annoying all the time, but they feel that places like these are a place to be that person. Mm-hmm. Maybe not even consciously. They just kind of, like I said, the switch flips.
Yeah.
Either you're annoying, or you're an asshole, or you're just disrespectful, and you just think that anything goes. There might be obvious things out there that kind of say, like, why people think that. But at the same time, there could be things within your operation that are not encouraging that, but kind of like just, you can't have it both ways,
Mm-hmm.
You got some assholes that are being jerks at these places too, and they sound like jerks when they start talking about, everybody's an asshole, don't they understand like what we go through, and it's like, you paid to be here, you paid to be in a haunt, we'll kick you out, and it's awesome when I get to kick people out because you're being the same person. Right? I don't know, just with a different reason. And I think some of the bigger names have been able to understand that. They just have different things implemented that's like the things that they implement to take care of that situation overshadow everything else about a haunted attraction.
Yeah.
Like that's where the operation goes to. Security. There's all these little things that they do. It's like, they put up the signs that say that you are on camera. They tell people flat out, we have security cameras working tonight, so don't do anything. It might not stop them from doing everything that they were going to do, but it slows them down quite a bit.
Yeah.
You got guys walking around that look like they're in SWAT gear with like flashlights.
Mm-hmm.
That creeps people out. It stops them from thinking about anything. All these this is a big psychological game here to do it the right way. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can kind of manipulate people and teach them how to act around certain customers, and if you do that the right way, you can get your haunt to be to that spot where people walk through and appreciate the art and the beauty that you've made and the acting talents and skills and stuff that the kids are giving you, and they will appreciate it as the show as you intended it to be.
I agree with that. Like, if you don't have those things in place and these, like, you know, people are coming back, they know that, oh, I get to come back and do that again next year, you know? That was fun last year.
Yeah, not even at the same place. What if they're going to other places and they're freaking getting away with it? I mean, they're treating all of these places like it's the same place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's because to them it is.
Yeah.
Okay, you got freaking weird kids in bad costumes, and they're popping out and doing the same thing. It's like, it's all the same.
Mm.
So it just makes this reputation for a haunted attraction that's, we can do whatever we want here.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess that's what I was getting at, because I just, sometimes it irks me when I hear these conversations between haunters where it's like they're talking like they're the big tough guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere with that. Sorry.
Right.
But that's all I guess I really had to say about that. Till next year. Yeah, and that was Hallowoosh 2020. Or 2020, I'm sorry.
There you go. So everyone says that 2020 has been the worst year ever. Has it been the worst haunt year ever?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. At least we got that going for us.
If anything, it was one of the best years, to be honest with you, because it really showed the intuition and the spirit of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, the haunt up in Nova Scotia that is run by a whole bunch of people at a nursing home.
Yeah.
You know, all these friggin' people that are on their deathbeds get to dress up as, like, friggin' people that they're probably going to be in the next couple days, dead, and still sitting in the coffins.
God.
It's true. That's the weird thing about it. And they're having a blast. They got this makeup on, little blood and everything, and they're sitting in a freaking coffin, a real coffin. And kids are walking by, and they're freaking popping out of the coffin, scaring them. That still happened this year.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think every year the haunt community is actually getting bigger and better.
Right.
That's all I gotta say. So.
All right.
All right,
that's gonna do it for Hallowoosh 2020 podcast. It's a great season, very unique season. We learned a lot of things, found a lot of great new places that may become regulars, and now begins the long journey to Hallowoosh 2021. Stay tuned to the Hallowoosh Facebook page. Stay tuned to the Hallowoosh Facebook page for a lot more info, reviews. Check out the Scare Factor. Hallowoosh is on there doing reviews. He's got his great video reviews. And just stay tuned with us. Whoosh, any last words?
I like pumpkin.
With that, folks, thank you for listening to this podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. And just thank you.
All right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for listening. Love you all.
Smooches.
Mwah. Mwah, mwah. Mwah, mwah.